The rings have been handed out, and they are magnificent. The Houston Astros World Championship ring. The players, coaching staff, manager A.J. Hinch, front office, all getting the rings just moments ago, as you saw on part of our pregame show, as we welcome you back to Game 2 in the home schedule. Orioles and Astros, middle game of a 3-game series. The Astros out to a 4-1 start. Hi, everybody, and welcome to another night of Astros baseball. Todd Callis alongside Jeff Blum. We'll have plenty of guests throughout the night. Blummer, another exciting night after opening day home opener.
Yeah, it's okay to look back on 2017, I guess. These guys are embracing the moment. Today was the big day. That's when you get the hardware, and hopefully it sets in that they are World Series championship.
Also a big day for Justin Verlander and the pitching staff, because now it's the second time through the rotation.
Yeah, it's exciting for us to see them go through the first time, because we actually saw them on paper and we said that they could be incredible. And they are incredible, especially that first time through the rotation. Verlander, Keuchel to Lance McCullers to Garrett Cole, and finished off with Charlie Morton last night in opening day. We saw all of them go out and compete. The part that I like the best about them, all of them except for Lance McCullers got into that 6th inning. Garrett Cole took it one step farther going into that 7th, but that will create all kinds of depth. And what that will do in the long run is actually make your bullpen a little bit better, because you're not wearing them out, trying to use them early in games to get you through those victories. These guys are strong in the front end of the game, and the offense has been too.
Astros starters have been outstanding, and the Orioles have had a difficult time against starting pitching this year. Justin Verlander, 6 and a win, shutout innings. Dallas Keuchel, 6 innings. Lance McCullers Jr. a victory. Garrett Cole, 7 with 11 punchouts. And Charlie Morton followed up with 6 shutout in last night's victory. We're getting ready for baseball on this Tuesday night. We'll have guests like the commissioner, Rob Manfred. Also the owner, Jim Crane. Hall of Famers, Craig Biggio, Jeff Bagwell. A star-studded show right around the corner. And the Orioles, Justin Verlander, his first home start of the season, and just moments before we came on our broadcast during the pregame show, they handed out the rings. The commissioner of baseball, Rob Manfred, who will join us in the booth, along with the owner, Jim Crane, who will also join us in the booth, and his wife, Whitney, handing out the rings. And Blummer, they're always special, but this one was phenomenal.
Yeah, you could almost see it on Rob Manfred's face when he got a hold of that ring and he was about to hand it to Jim Crane. He looked at it like we all will, and he said, "That's pretty impressive. Nicely done, Jim Crane." And they did it right. 56 years they've waited to get that ring, and now they've got it. And they honored a couple of their Hall of Famers, and Craig Biggio and Jeff Bagwell. It was nice to see those guys come out. We'll have them in the booth also. It'll be fun to talk to them and hear what they have to say about the 2018 Astros and moving forward. But these guys really established the Astros as a first-class organization, so it's great to have them involved.
Pretty much everybody on the stage is going to be in our booth at some point. AJ won't.
AJ would like to, but he won't.
Yeah, Jose Altuve got a huge ovation. Lance McCullers Jr., the big Wooston celebration from Josh Reddick, and the World Series MVP, George Springer. Hey, you can share your thoughts with us tonight about that ring. It is a Twitter Tuesday, our first Twitter Tuesday of this season. Tweet the booth. The commissioner will be here. The Astros championship rings are the topic. At ATT Sportsnet SW. You can also tweet us directly at Real Todd Callis, Blummer27, or Julia Morales. We're ready for baseball. Justin Verlander makes his first home start of the 2018 season right around the corner. Net is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. The manager of your world champion Houston Astros getting his ring and making sure he shows that off as he waves hello to family members. Quite a moment for AJ and the rest of the team. Everybody, with the exception of Rich Dower, getting their first World Series title rings of their career. Tonight, Justin Verlander takes the mound for the first time in 2018 at home.
It's good to see him back in those home whites, still sporting the gold-trimmed jerseys. They look fantastic, and he is happy to be out here and start his season with the Houston Astros as well as it finished last year. He's looking forward to a great start here. We already saw him pitch extremely well out there in Texas, doing a great job for the Houston Astros, going 6 strong. Again, we're going to be looking at his fastball.
You look at it.
Thank
Finally.
you. You showed up. Game 6.
Man.
Hey, we're all here, guys.
One turn through the rotation, I finally caught on.
but it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I'm excited. I'm sorry if I'm out of words, but it's a lot of fun to watch Justin Verlander go out there. After what we saw in that first time through the rotation for the Houston Astros, to have what the numbers they do on the paper and then to have them back it up and even pitch better than expected is what's been a lot of fun for me, and hopefully it lasts throughout the course of the season.
Verlander facing the Baltimore Orioles tonight, a team that has scored just 6 runs in their first 4 games this season. And it is led off by Chris Davis at the top of the lineup. Manny Machado hits second. Jonathan Scope in the 3 spot. Cleanup hitter is Adam Jones, had a couple of hits last night. Trey Mancini hit a home run. He's in left field. He accounted for the only Orioles run in last night's 6-1 loss. Colby Rasmus, the DH. Tim Beckham is at third base. Chance Sisco gets the start behind the plate. And Anthony Santander is the Orioles right fielder. Verlander facing the Orioles tonight. He and Brian McCann have paired up for every one of his outings as an Astro. And they have a sub-1 ERA together in the regular season as Verlander misses upstairs to Davis 1-0. Davis a lot of at-bats against Verlander, 7 for 32. 17 of those 32 at-bats have been strikeouts. There's a strike called, 1-1. The corner, ball 2 strikes.
Tell you what, if that's the corner, Justin Verlander's going to have a great night.
Tony Randazzo behind the plate, Lance Barrett, Nick Lentz, and the crew chief, Bill Welke. Round out your umpiring crew.
Chris Davis has a 32% K rate throughout his career.
Foul territory, but out of play. That K rate has been enhanced by Justin Verlander, who has struck out Davis 6 of his last 7 times at the plate.
Power hitter, power pitcher. But Justin Verlander is one of those guys, once he gets to that 2-strike count, really doesn't try and create the chase. He tries to put you away with his power stuff in the zone. He's not afraid to continue to attack that strike zone, even with 2 strikes.
There he goes, getting Chris Davis first batter of the night with another strikeout. That is now 7 of the last 8 times they've matched up. Verlander has ended up with a K.
Our best in Texas power pitch is presented by Ford. Justin Verlander, the fastball. It's very good. It starts out great in the mid-90s. The longer he goes, actually, the stronger he gets. But I think it's going to be interesting here. We're seeing him get some of these punch-outs early on the high fastball. That's a high spin rate. The pitch can flatten out, is what hitters call it. Kind of planes out a little bit, becomes deceptive. But once you've hesitated on the fastball up, it's by you, especially as hard as Justin Verlander throws.
Here's Manny Machado. He takes a called strike. Machado coming in 3 for 13 on the season. As part of that magical 2017 World Championship season, Justin Verlander, after being acquired, started his Astros career on the road in Seattle. His first home start would be the day the Astros clinched the American League West. Look foul, and Verlander ahead of ball and 2 strikes.
Gonna check out Justin Verlander's fastball on our Mattress Firm Supermo. See the torque that it creates in that right arm as it jumps out, coming right at the hitter. You can see 4-seam fastball. He's not trying to trick anybody. It's straight over the top, but with some blazing speed behind it. What he does is doing it when he beats you up with the fastball is he sets it up by throwing some good fastballs in the zone early in the count. A couple of breaking balls to slow your eyes down, and then he can blow it by you like he just did with Manny Machado.
Good timing on that. After getting Davis with the slider, he strikes out Machado on a fastball.
And you can see that was an emergency swing, but it was a half an hour late. And that's when Carlos Lee, you come back to the dugout and you take a swing like that. Carlos loves saying this. He'd come back and you go, didn't break.
Here's Jonathan Scope. 2 quick strikeouts for Verlander to start this night. Scope fouls one out of play. Verlander only struck out 5 in 6 innings against the Rangers in his first start of the season. Watch Lance McCullers Jr. strike out 10 and Garrett Cole strike out 11. He said, I need to jump back into this strikeout race.
But doesn't that create a unique dynamic?
Oh my goodness.
That there's going to be some of that little subtle competition between starting pitchers, and if these guys start competing against each other, watch out.
Verlander ahead 0-2. Big crowd gathered on a Tuesday night watching the ring ceremony. It's also Dollar Dog Night here at the ballpark. They have watched Verlander strike out the first 2, and now some of them are rising to see if he can strike out the side to start this game. Missed inside 1-2. Scope stays alive. Verlander facing the Orioles for the 20th time in his career. He's 10-5 with a 3.71 ERA against Baltimore. Began his career with an 8-game winning streak against the O's. That ball is drilled to left field, and Jonathan Scope has hit a home run. A 1-2 pitch. Scope, who hit 32 home runs last year, hits a home run to give the Orioles a 1-0 lead.
It's actually the 3rd home run Scope has hit off Justin Verlander. Got a fastball, maybe caught a little too much of the plate. I wonder if the pitch previously made Justin Verlander go to that heater, because Scope did a good job of fouling off the curveball before on a pretty good swing. But also maybe Manny Machado's at bat previously gave him the idea of maybe that he could sneak a fastball past him with 2 strikes.
Only the 3rd hit of Scope's career against Verlander in 17 at-bats. As Plummer mentioned, though, all 3 have been home runs. Here's a high towering fly ball to center field. Adam Jones got under this one, and George Springer makes the catch for the final out. A solo home run has given the Orioles a 1-0 lead. By Southwest may look familiar because it's the same lineup that A.J. Hinch used in the home opener. George Springer at the top, followed by Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve. Good to see Carlos Correa back in there after leaving the game last night. Josh Reddick hits 5th. Marwin Gonzalez a home run last night. Evan Gattis in the 7th spot. Brian McCann behind the plate, and Derek Fisher is in left field.
Mike Wright Jr. on the mound for these Baltimore Orioles. 13 appearances last season, all out of the bullpen. 5.76 ERA. That's a pretty good fastball, averaging around 93 miles an hour. His secondary pitch will be that slider before getting to the changeup if he needs to. Slider's an interesting pitch. Last year he started to throw it a little bit harder, averaging 87 miles an hour on that slider. He's got some good numbers in the sense that his walks per 9 have gone down and his strikeouts per 9 have gone up.
So now the Orioles putting Wright Jr. back into the rotation. He had been there for the 2015 and 16 season for the majority of his appearances, but then last year used exclusively out of the Orioles bullpen. Big swing by George, no contact. It's a ball and 2 strikes.
There's that slider at 89 miles an hour.
He used that slider a lot, especially to right-hand hitters, and got a lot of chases from it. Now is really one of the big weapons, as Blummer said, it's his season last year. 2-4 four-seam fastball, pretty much equally used. A little more four-seamers against left-handed hitters.
The Astros have seen Mike Wright Jr. It was back in 2015. Evan Gattis got him for a 3-run jack. Little Luis Valbuena added a solo shot. But the first time through the lineup, when you're facing a guy you haven't seen in a while, or for the first time, you're going to see these guys take a lot of pitches. I know the Astros already do to begin with, but they're trying to pick up on a tendency, pick up on release point.
Towards short, Machado has to charge. Springer out at first by about a stride as Machado makes the play for out number 1. Orioles leading 1-0. Not only was it the only run this year allowed by Justin Verlander after 6 shutout innings in his first start, it was the first run scored by the Orioles against the starting pitcher this season. Took them 5 games in. Alex Bregman. See his numbers on the season. Hitting into some tough luck here the first 5 games. Takes a pitch outside for ball 1.
And just some more baseball oddities that are coming out. We'll get to it because next inning I think we're going to have Rob Manfred at the top of the inning, and then Jim Crane's going to be coming in the booth. Justin Verlander in his regular season games with the Astros has given up 5 runs, all via the solo home run.
Wow. How about that?
Interesting stuff.
5 runs in 5 starts plus tonight. That's not too shabby.
Yeah, I'll take that. Especially with the way the Astros offense has a tendency to go.
Right, missing to Bregman on the first 3 offerings. It's 3-0. Wright started last year at AAA. Get up to the Orioles till May 31st.
Tonight's Power Players are presented by TXU Energy. Up there in Arlington, it was the Carlos Correa and Jose Altuve show. Hopefully it'll be like that for many years to come. Altuve locked up for 7 more years. Carlos Correa's got a couple more years before he becomes a free agent. One of them already has an MVP under his belt, one looking for an MVP. But both of them lit it up, leading the Astros to that 3-1 start, or 3-1 start up in Arlington against the rival Rangers.
Altuve hitting .476 on the season. 10 hits already in the first 5 games. Wright has struggled with his command early. 7 of the first 11 outside of the strike zone. Slowly hit towards Machado, makes the play to second. No chance at a double play with Altuve running and a slowly hit grounder. That'll be a fielder's choice for out number 2.
Shortstop turned third baseman, now back to shortstop, Manny Machado. I'm going to actually give Jonathan Scope credit for that force out at second base. That was a little bit of an underarm toss from Manny Machado, coming in pretty hot. Tough to handle for a second baseman sometimes when you got that runner bearing down on you.
Carlos Correa, who left the game last night in the 3rd inning, back in the lineup tonight. That's good news. Still a little sore with that left big toe contusion, but A.J. Hinch figures he plays him tonight. Give him a rest tomorrow during the day game possibly, and then have a couple of days off before he has to play again on Friday. And he looks at a slider for a strike.
Having done that maybe about 8,000 times in my career, fouling a ball off my ankle, off my foot, off my toes, sometimes that thing can swell up. Blood can get in some certain places. They have to relieve that area, the pressure in some of those, you know, because the ankles and the toes, there's not much room for that swelling to go. So sometimes there might be a little bit of a day where you got to let that thing calm down a little bit before you can put it back in a shoe and go out and play a Major League Baseball game.
So we'll see how he handles running around the bases today. And also, he said he felt it yesterday on that ground ball to short early in the game when he had to go to his backhand. make a quick throw.
Yeah, he planted that left leg to go down for the backhand. You can see him kind of buckle a little bit. Nothing major.
The fact that he's right back in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Having dealt with that, I'm sure there's a comfort level between protecting that toe too much, but having so much gauze
so
or
much
protection
armor,
inside your shoe that you really can't function.
Yeah.
Counts 1-2. Carlos, just like Jose Altuve, as Blummer showed you a minute ago, off to a hot start, hitting .412. And Correa sends one deep to left field. Mancini back at the wall. It's off the wall. Altuve will score easily. It bounces away from Adam Jones. Correa around third. Carlos Correa is testing that foot, and he scores an inside the park home run.
That just happened. I almost ripped my headset out of the console because I stood up. I couldn't believe it. That ball smashed. About time they fire off the home run cannon. Probably waiting for the official score because Mancini had a shot. That hit off his glove, but getting closer to that wall, this ball just refused to come down out of the air. Carlos thought he had a chance of getting it out of here. I'm not sure if right until then he realized he might have had an opportunity for the inside the park home run. That was awesome.
Nothing like testing that toe.
Man, right out of the gate.
Toe probably felt pretty good once he saw that ball bound away from Adam Jones.
Wow.
That has this crowd buzzing with a 2-1 lead. Josh Reddick fouls one back. Nothing like an inside the park home run to stir a crowd up.
Had to have taken off the ring before the game. Might have slowed him down.
First Astros inside the park home run since John Singleton in August of 2014.
What?
It's like the Gaddis double-digit triple
I was
stat.
going to say that. Yeah, that one's going to win you a bet at the bar.
Jeremiah Randall, the head athletic trainer for the Astros, checking in with Carlos after circling the bases.
Yeah, if you're a superstar and you're playing with an injury, you're going to have some real good friends called trainers.
I know he's not feeling 100%, but he got up around those bases in a hurry.
Hey, it's one thing that'll get you running fast is the smell of a hit. Second thing is the opportunity of an inside the park home run.
Reddick fouls the 0-2 pitch off. Josh had an interesting walk up to get his ring today in the ceremony.
He had to throw a little flair into it, didn't he?
All the fans here appreciate his love of Ric Flair. The woo chant's always present whenever Reddick bats. Backs him off the plate. Josh on base 3 times in last night's game. A couple of walks and got that first base hit.
It's off the schneid.
Yeah. A lot of guys that put out that tweet about I will get a hit. Dexter Fowler started it. Josh followed through as well. 2-2 pitch is a strikeout. Swing and a miss and a tag out by Chance Cisco.
It's ring day. This guy is aiming for that MVP this year, nursing that toe injury, bolting all the way around the bases.
Astros leading the Orioles 2-1 on an inside the park 2-run home run by Carlos Correa. We are pleased to be joined by the Commissioner of Baseball, Rob Manfred, joining us up in the booth. And Commissioner, first of all, welcome. Good to see you again.
It's great to see you too, Ted.
I guess of all your commissioner duties, handing out World Series rings is one of the better ones.
Yeah, it is. It's really a great baseball tradition. You know, the players, they can't wait to get them on their fingers. I mean, it actually is a great thing to watch. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
You had a great look on your face when you saw the case with the ring in it. What were your first thoughts when you saw it?
Well, every year it seems they get bigger and better. Every single year. Now, it's interesting. Jim Crane was telling me on the way up that his is actually 10% smaller than the Cubs, which is the biggest one ever.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
But they're great-looking rings, and hats off to Jim. He went so deep in the organization. So many people got to celebrate what was a great win for the Astros.
I know you have to be unbiased to all 30 teams, but considering, Commissioner, what this city went through, it was a pretty special story last year.
Yeah, it was a great story for baseball. To have a city go through what Houston went through and then have a team that's as exciting as this team was all last year, and it looks like going to be again this year. It's a fantastic thing for our sport.
Yeah, they're off to a great start. It is a great thing for the sport. And what does it say about Major League Baseball when you can have, and I know Houston's a major market by population, but as far as baseball and financials are concerned, it's still maybe a mid-major type city. What does it mean to see them go out and do what they did via the draft, free agency, and spending the money they did to go out and win a world championship?
Well, we've been really fortunate in terms of competitive balance. Last 17 years we've had 12 different World Series winners. We've had 27 of our 30 teams over the last decade in the playoffs, and that's what gives fans a reason to come to the ballpark, and it's really important for us. I think the interesting thing about the game now is it's hard to predict. There's such a reliance on young players. Those players come together, and you go back and read in the off season, this team or that team didn't do enough, they're not trying. Then all of a sudden, you get a team like Minnesota makes the playoffs last year, right? I mean, and that's great for the sport.
And they've got a great shot this year too. Minnesota looks like a very good young team.
Right.
Full count to Trey Mancini to lead off the second inning. Todd Callis, Jeff Blum, joined by the Commissioner of Baseball, Rob Manfred. Commissioner, you talked about the dozen teams in the last 17 years that have won a World Series, and you know the stat probably that it's been since 2000 since a team repeated. Do you feel like it is more balanced now and maybe more difficult now to repeat than when we started watching baseball?
It's interesting. I was talking to one of the players down behind the batting cage during batting practice, and they said, that one of the difficulties with repeating is when you go all the way through October, those additional games, it changes your off season. It just makes it that much more difficult to repeat in today's game.
The game is getting younger. Free agency is a little more interesting. Do you think any of the combination of both of those things is why this game is getting younger?
Look, I think that analytics have played a huge role in the focus on young players. You're able to get productivity out of young players that people didn't fully understand, I think, for years. And it has changed the way that clubs think about putting rosters together. Absolutely no question about that.
Colby Rasmus, the former Astro, is the batter after a walk to Trey Mancini. Commissioner, you guys started the season earlier than ever. You've added off days, which we all appreciate. And part of the challenges involved with this, and let me preface this by saying the Astros go to Minnesota next week,
right?
is that you have early starts to the season and you have cold weather cities. That has to be a delicate balance.
It's very tough. I mean, we've been talking about it for the last 10 days nonstop. We've had some real weather challenges, but the fact of the matter is that there's no way out, right? You either got to play in March or you got to play in November if you're going to play 162 games. And, it's just one of those things we're going to have to continue to work at.
When you say you've had discussions, are there discussions as to, because to be fair, you have to give Minnesota some opening days at some point, but you want to balance it out by having games being played?
Well, it's really two, limiting factors. Every team needs to open in the first couple of weeks. You can't, open in Minnesota at the end of April. I mean, it's just not possible. The second thing is, the economics of our game turn around schools getting out, right? Yeah. No one wants, even if it's a warm weather city, no one wants 30 April dates. And it really is not fair, right, to have 30 games, home games, or, 20 home games in the month of April, whatever the number is. So there are some real limiting factors. People, who consider themselves to be a lot smarter than I am routinely tell me we should have a warm weather schedule, but it's not quite as easy as it sounds.
There's a lot more going into the situation than just, put them underneath the roof and call it a season.
Right.
Other than giving out the rings on for a World Series team, what is the best part of your job being commissioner of baseball?
Look, I think that the best part of the job is being in the ballpark. And, I make a real effort to get around. I think I did 26 ballparks last year. I'm going to do 30 one of these years. I have never managed to make it to 30. But, I enjoy the game. You always learn something about the business when you're out with a team. And I think it's a really important part of the job.
One of the new rules this year, we see MV or MVR in the case here at Minute Maid Park, is the mound visit limitations.
Right.
At 6 during the beginning of the season, seems like everybody is getting used to that already, and we're only a few days in. How do you think it's been working out, and will that be in play, or is it still to be decided? Will that be in play in the postseason?
It will be in play in the postseason. I think that it's gone well. As opposed to some of the rule changes we've worked through the last couple of years where the rule change actually involves action in the game. I mean, mound visits are a stop in the game. It's a little easier for people to get used to keep track of. It's not real time in terms of the action being affected like the plays at second base or the collision rule at home plate. So we're pleased. We feel like we're off to a good start with it, and we're hopeful that we'll get some good results in terms of, a little quicker pace in the game.
I've got a couple of questions about the rule changes that are implemented. A lot of people at home may not know. Are there conversations between players with the union and what you're seeing on the field, and is there an agreement on the amount of mound visits moving forward?
There are ongoing conversations with the Players Association about pace of game. The rule is going to be the rule for this year. We will clearly revisit these pace rules in the next offseason.
Was there any worry when you were putting this mound visit rule into part of the game? Was there any worry about what the impact would be on the strategy for the teams involved?
Yeah, we talked. There's a whole set of considerations. The strategy issues obviously are relevant. We do know that sometimes mound visits are done strategically, allow somebody to get ready. We feel like that trade-off in terms of moving the game along is worthwhile. I think the other one that we really felt had gotten out of hand was particularly catcher visits.
Yeah.
A lot of those catcher visits driven by paranoia over sign stealing.
I was just going to say, it's got to be pitchers and their paranoia.
Right. Paranoia over sign stealing. And look, when I use the word paranoia, I don't mean to suggest that sign stealing doesn't happen. But, going on literally every hitter, it just makes the game drag.
Chance Sisco is the batter, left-hand hitting catcher. 2 outs after the fly out by Tim Beckham. Commissioner, I thought it was interesting your choice of words when you talked about mound visits, because it really is a dead time. And I think when you talk about the time of a game, everybody focuses on the time of a game. Last year, Game 5 was 5 hours and 17 minutes,
right.
And nobody here has seen a better game ever. But it's the dead time you're trying to eliminate.
100%. I mean, the absolute length of the game in terms of how long it is, that's determined by things we can't control. How many runs, how many pitching changes. We're not looking to limit those things, change the game by putting rules around those. What we are focused on are the things where there's nothing happening, because look, we unless you have your head in the sand, you realize that in today's world, action is an important part of any entertainment product, and taking out that time gives you more action.
Especially younger generation. They are. We see them roaming stadiums more. We see them interacting with their phones more.
Right.
And that's obviously something you guys want to.
Yeah, I think honestly, the most interesting thing in the research is this: there is a really strong difference between what fans think about pace of game, depending on whether they're in the ballpark or watching on TV. In the ballpark, nobody cares. I mean, that's an overstatement, but they care much less about pace of game. Why? Because there's entertainment. You can get up, you get food, you're talking to people, the time goes by quickly. The difficulty in the broadcast audience is you don't have that fill-in entertainment, and every one of those stops in the action is an opportunity for a viewer that matters to the game to switch away.
No, it's exactly right. And I agree with you in the mound visits. It's interesting being an ex-player, being on the field. you weren't thinking about that, but now sitting in the booth and calling some of these games like you're talking about puts a lot of pressure on Todd and I to be entertaining.
That's right.
And I'm not sure if you were watching our broadcast and said we need to get rid of these mound visits.
Well, you know what? It's I think you make a really interesting point about player perspective on these issues. I had a conversation with a former player that actually was on television, but we'll leave him nameless for right now, who said to me when we were talking about pace of play, the real problem is you're talking to players. And, players don't want to change anything on the field.
They never do.
That's just the reality, right?
Yep.
Commissioner, thank you so much for the time.
It's great to see you.
No, it's always good talking to you, Rob.
Always a pleasure. Yep, great to see you both.
Commissioner Rob Manfred, we'll hear from the owner next. Now in the Astros team store, this collection includes player jerseys, hats, t-shirts, and more. For team store hours and location, visit astros.com/team store. Joined by the owner of the Houston Astros, Jim Crane. We just had the commissioner in last half inning. You are holding a very...
Got the big ring. It's great looking.
Oh my goodness.
You guys did extremely well. I know you're extremely proud to have that thing on. How does it feel to actually have it on your hands and be able to wear it?
Well, it's a big ring. I don't know if it's a day-to-day ring, but
rumor has it that yours is 10% smaller.
Yeah, we made them a little smaller because we thought they were getting too big. But we've got some cool stuff on there. We got Houston Strong and Earned History, and the stadium lifting the city up. So it's really designed around the time we were going through and the city support and the fan support, and everybody rallied behind us. So I think it's going to be a great memento for everybody.
I was thinking it'd be tough to hit a driver with that ring, but it might give you a little extra.
You can't shake hands with it because you get your knuckle killed. But it's fun to finally get them out and get them to everybody. And throughout the week we'll give them to the rest of the staff, and so it's going to be great. And you guys will get one, so there you go.
And we greatly appreciate that. And I think something needs to be said about you too, Jim, being the owner that is being extremely gracious in having everybody involved and offering that ring to a lot of people who have meant a lot to this organization. From top all the way to the bottom of this thing has been amazing.
Well, you have a lot of people behind the scenes here that do a lot of hard work to make these ball games go off. You see the players, and they get all the attention, but a lot of staff works here, and from the ushers to the guys cleaning the building. Guy picks me up in the morning when I pull in the garage, and we go around the stadium picking up trash. So these guys are important, so I want to make sure that we show them a little appreciation for their hard work.
We're going to try and show the fans at home here a little up-close look at the ring. It was a little harder to see, but there it is right there. That's pretty spectacular. But that's awesome, because you said the numbers right in spring training when we were talking to you. They went up a little bit.
Well, they keep bouncing on me. I might be broke by the end of the week, but it was at 900, then it was 1,100. I think we're at 1,300. But that's great. We're glad to do it, and I'll be happy to hand them all out. It's going to be a fun week. And
that's because you keep saying yes, because you want those people. Seriously, because you want those people.
Yeah, it grows.
The little people.
Absolutely, yeah. We've had ushers here for 30, worked at the Astrodome, and 30, 40 years, and they never really received anything. So I'm really happy that they're going to get something.
Thought it was great. We watched a little bit of the video that they put up about making the ring. The H has 11 diamonds in it, representing the 11 wins in the postseason. You talked about the city, the skyline holding up the championship. It's tough to say, but is there a favorite part of this ring for you that you really kind of like zeroed in on and said we have to have this on the ring?
Well, I think the side where the stadium's holding up the city. I mean, it was kind of the anchor, and everybody got behind it. It gave something to rally behind when times were tough around here, and it was, the city was in a mess. So, and the guys pitching in and doing all the hard work. They came back and started helping, and but I think we touched on a little bit of everything that got brought out. Earned history. They earned the history. So it's got some great stuff.
How excited are you about the start you've seen to 2018?
The guys are playing well. They're hitting the ball, and the pitching's been good, and the lineup's relentless. I mean, we're not even at full strength. We'll get Yuri back a little bit later, but it's a deep team. So hopefully they can stay healthy, keep winning ball games and get in the playoffs and make a run again. We're very confident in what we got here.
So we've seen the rotation one time through, and they've pitched extremely well. You being an ex-pitcher, whose stuff would you like to have
Gosh, it's it all Dallas on the left side, but he's still got great stuff. But they're all a little different. Charlie's a little different than Cole and Verlander. They've got a little bit of different deliveries, and their balls move a little bit differently. The way they throw the ball when you really look at it closely. And Lance has got that great curveball. So even though they're all right-handers, their balls all move differently, and they have different pitches. So I think it throws a great diversion at the opponents, as you've seen in the first 5 games. They've all pitched well.
Base hit by Marwin Gonzalez to lead off the inning. Now full count to Evan Gattis. A little different look on the light stanchion in left field. They used to have all the division titles up there. Now it is strictly a reserved for championships.
Yeah, we had a lot of stuff up there, and it was getting a little cluttered. So I think we've got all that, and it's great to have those division wins and the wild card wins and all the other things. But now you have 2 big banners, and I think they look great. And those are displayed for the rest of the people.
Called third strike and a strike him out, throw him out, double play. It actually didn't matter that they tagged Marwin because Evan was going to be called for interference with the catcher Cisco. But 2 outs and nobody on.
Yeah, so we've got those other banners displayed throughout the stadium, and fans can still take pictures with them and see them. But the 2 big ones look great.
So in order to win championships and you reserve some room up there for some more banners, you've got to keep some of this core around, and you did so in signing Jose Altuve. What does that mean to the organization, and was that a pleasurable experience knowing that you're going to have Jose Altuve around for 7 more years?
Well, yeah, Jose's really the anchor of the team. He's a great leader and makes everybody better on the team. And, he's done a great job for us. I mean, he's a couple hundred hits, MVP. He's the kind of guy that you can really invest in and have around the long term. And, when you really look at the infield, you've got Bregman for 5 more years, you've got Correa for 4 more years, Springer's under control with arbitration for 3 more years, and now Jose 7. You really got a good nucleus there, not to mention a number of the other guys. So we got a lot of talent coming. So I'm happy with the way Jeff has really structured the team and staggered those guys. And each year you'll have to make different decisions, and he'll do a good job at that.
Owner Jim Crane with us. You came into the ballpark in style last night. You're riding behind a bunch of Clydesdales.
That was awesome, by the way.
Well, we can thank our local distributor, John Now, who's one of our partners. He's got a lot of pull with Anheuser-Busch, so he was able to pull that off. And I was from St. Louis, so I used to see those horses at Grant's Farm when I was a kid, so that was a lot of fun. St. Louis boy, yeah.
Last night, we're going to take a look at it. Was it a smooth ride?
Well, actually, when we came out of the tunnel there, we had to duck a little bit. I thought we were going to get decapitated, but we were a little higher than the drivers. But we got through that, and we were strapped in there, so we couldn't fall off. But it was a lot of fun. And
Not to mention you're holding the trophy, too.
Yeah, the fans were really cheering. It was fun to watch.
Into the ship. Ryan McCann lines after the final out. Jim, we can't wait to see how the rest of the season unfolds. Thank you very much for joining.
I'll hold on to this if you need it.
Yeah, right? you can borrow it. We'll see you guys soon. Thank you very much.
In attendance, we'll get a commemorative world champion poster presented by Powerade. For tickets and info, visit Astros.com or call 1-877-9-ASTROS.
Ring ceremony tonight. There is the Hall of Famer Craig Biggio accepting his ring before the game, and he has joined us up in the broadcast booth. What a moment that had to be, Bidge, to get that ring, and the owner Jim Crane handing it off there.
Yeah, it was pretty special, no doubt about it. I mean, it's kind of a, we've been here, 57 years, and we've been to 1 World Series, and we weren't very fortunate to win it, but then obviously last year getting back again and being able to do it and be the first Texas team to be able to do that was really special. And then, you just think about, all the guys that have come through this organization that have played here over the 56, 57 years, and, that was for them too, you know what I mean? Everybody just took a lot of pride. I can't tell you how many text messages I got from people just how happy they were for our guys to be able to win last year, especially, how they had to do it. Go through Boston, go through the Yankees, and then obviously beat the Dodgers was really special.
And I think it needs to be said that you guys deserve a lot of the attention. These guys, yes, they went out and played, won the World Series. You had your opportunity in 2005, but a lot of what this organization is built on, I think, personally watching these guys, the way they go about their business and play this game is predicated by guys, like you said, previously. Guys who have played in this organization previously. Yourself and Jeff Bagwell, 2 Hall of Famers, represented
in Cooperstown for the Houston Astros, really set the tone in the late 80s through the 90s. So just as a fan of the game and an ex-teammate, I appreciate everything you've done and what it means to this organization to have you represent and go up there and get that ring.
Well, I appreciate that too. And again, it was the guys before me. It was the Billy Dorns of the world, and Buddy Bells, and the Mike Scotts, and the Nolan Ryans. And you know, this organization has always had the standard of they get high character people that can play the game a little bit. You get supporting cast, but you make sure that your leaders go out there and they play the game, and they play the game the right way.
Long run for Alex Bregman, who is over in the shift.
And then, you know, the similarities of the teams that we played together would blow me a little bit in the late 90s and then even in the 2000s. That, I mean, these guys, they're fun to be around. They're easy. They're get-along guys. There's really no egos in that clubhouse. And, you know, the leaders lead, the players play, AJ manages, and it's really fun to be part of. And obviously, for them to have all the success that they're having, they deserve every bit of it.
For you and Baggy, you'll always be linked, obviously. To enjoy that last year as a fan, you couldn't control the games. How was that when you were watching those playoff games?
You know, everybody asked me that question. I go, how was the games? The games were, you know, we're not playing. You know, when you're playing, you're stressed
you're
out.
just as involved.
When are you going to get in? When are you going to do this or that? Now you're watching the game with, like, okay, the umpire's getting a little couple inches on the outside. He's going up and away. He's doing this. He's doing that. You know, the moves that the other manager's making. You know, the swing decisions that our guys are making, the pitch selection. And so you're watching the game with a different intent, almost more like a manager. And but, you know, it's just a lot of fun. And watching our guys just go out there and do their thing, they do it very well.
No, they have done very well, and you sound like a proud papa, by the way.
Well, I've been, you know what,
you do hang around these guys.
Jeff Luno asked me the other day. He goes, how many opening days is that? That was 31 yesterday.
Congratulations!
Yeah, it's
wow,
kind of crazy. So as a proud papa, I mean, I've been the organization's been around for 56, 57 years, and I've been around here for 31, 32. So I know I've been very blessed.
I know a lot of people don't see the batting practice and some of the pregame type situations unless you show up here to the ballpark, but you are on the field behind the cage talking to these guys and offering up all kinds of advice. Who's the most enjoyable conversation for you?
You know, they all are. You know, you just try to figure out, you know, again, just like a manager, what's the what makes somebody tick? You know what I mean? So it's like George Springer, or you got, you know, somebody likes fishing, somebody likes hunting. This is the same thing, getting conversations, get to know them, and you got to be around them a little bit for them to open up to you. And then, you know, once you can get a guy to open up to you a little bit, when he's having a hard time, you can talk to him when he has questions that he wants to ask and this and that. So it's really a lot of fun to be part of it and be around these guys, and they're great.
A couple of outs for Justin Verlander.
I've got a question. Altuve is on an incredible pace as far as accumulating hits. You having gotten over that 3,000 hit threshold, do you have any advice for him to maintain this and accomplish something like you did?
The only advice I got for him, I have an incredible relationship with Jose. He just go out and play. Just keep doing what you're doing. And look, he just signed a $150 million contract a couple weeks ago. He's the same guy. Okay, he was the same, which is like, that's what you love about him. I mean, he just goes out and he plays the game the right way. He has no ego. He's the modern day Tony Gwynn from the right-hand side. It's crazy. And, you know, he's just the same guy, and that's what you love about him, and that's why he's so easy to pull for. But no, the only advice I have for him, and he knows, is just go swing the bat. Just keep doing what you're doing, and hopefully, you know, 15 years from now, you're getting 4,000. You're not getting 3,000. He's on an incredible pace.
You guys had that great extended run where you won 4 divisions in 5 years. You won 800 games over a 9-year span. This team seems like it's poised for a big run.
It is. It's built right now. I mean, what it comes down to is the dollars. The dollars are what keeps the players together. And you know, you got to give Jeff and Jim Crane a lot of credit, because, you know, you got to be able to put the pieces together. And, you know, we had some growing years here early, and you know, it took us a little bit of time. We drafted well, you developed well. And now all of a sudden you're starting to see, you know, what we've had going on here for the last 3 or 4 years, obviously with the World Series, but now also, you know, you're continuing to add a Garrett Cole. You know, you got Justin Verlander for 2 years. You know, so there's things here that, you know, our fans can continue to root for. George Springer, I mean, he's, you know, going to be around for a while. So this is good times right now for us.
Pop up to Bregman. This one a little easier chance. We appreciate it.
Thank you, boys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good seeing you.
Craig Biggio joining us as the Astros get through the top half of the 3rd inning.
Some speed. Derek Fisher launched one into the right center field area over Adam Jones' head, and then it was off to the races.
first to third speed. You can see him kind of watching the ball as he was getting to first base. But once he realized that ball hit ground, he took off 29.2 feet per second. Put that in, almost 30 feet per second going from first to third. That gives you a great idea of the electric and elite speed of Derek Fisher.
Yeah, when you consider that 30 is amongst the top 10 in all of baseball, and he's right there at 29.2. Pretty impressive wheels for the number 9 hitter for the Astros, Derek Fisher, already with a couple of triples this season, both driving in runs. 2-1 ball game, bottom half of the third inning. Todd Callis, Jeff Blum, and a cast of unbelievable dignitaries tonight.
Yeah, this is fun. It's kind of cool. It kind of mixes up, and I'm not very good at it. I'm glad I have a good wingman in Todd Callis, but it's fun having these guys up here. It's amazing. Biggio kept himself great. He was very composed, great answers. He's a good soundbite. But I always fight the opportunity to kind of nudge him and trying to get him loosen up a little bit and get Clubhouse on me. Some of the championship gear being sold at the team store, looking good. No, I like it. It's not too often we get a chance to talk to the commissioner, so that was kind of cool for me too.
No, that was great. We had commissioner followed by the owner, followed by a Hall of Famer, and we may have another Hall of Famer jump in there as Jeff Bagwell's potentially going to join us in the next half inning too. There's another strikeout for Wright. That is his third as he gets Fisher to start the bottom half of the third. We do have Julia Morales with us too. She'll be along at some point when we can fit her in.
Well, Julia's been busy. I know
Yes.
that she had that 1 hour pregame, so we'll give her a little bit of a break. But yeah, we're not going to let her skate off too easy.
Here's George Springer back to the top of the order. Astros leading 2-1 on a Carlos Correa 2-run inside the park home run. I almost feel like it's a Tonight Show. Who's behind the curtain next? Hi-yo!
Literally, that's what it feels like. It does. Come on down.
Who is next on our Astros telecast? Ooh,
Ooh,
Springer
man.
hit with a slider that never really broke. George runs down to first. Fans don't like it.
They're not going to like it if you hit any of these guys in the lineup. But like you said, slider got away from Wright Jr., but wow, right in the gold. I don't think Mike Wright Jr. likes gold.
Georgia one out base runner. Now bring up Alex Bregman. Alex walked his first time up. So far, the Astros with 2 hits. Wright has walked a batter and hit a batter, and he struck out 3. Verlander last inning struck out Chris Davis and also a couple of pop-ups. Verlander up to 5 strikeouts on the night through 3 innings. Bregman did not see a strike in his first plate appearance, a 4-pitch walk, and now he's ahead of the count 2-0. The first 2 games are on the indication the standing room areas here at Minute Maid Park are going to be jammed all season long. Bregman's seen 7 pitches. None of them have been in the strike zone. Now he finally sees a strike. It was on the corner, not really a hitter's pitch.
It's the first one he's seen, isn't it?
Yeah,
Jeez.
7 straight outside of the zone. It is a Twitter Tuesday in addition to everything else. Your reaction to the World Series ring for the Astros.
Didn't have time to get on Twitter.
Runner on the move, line drive, base hit. Springer's going to hold up. He thought about testing Mancini, now dives back in. First and second, one out on the base hit by Alex Bregman.
What's great about this is that Alex Bregman gets credited with a hit, but also at the same time, even with George Springer not being able to get to third, you know what his initial thought was? His initial thought was, I am going to get to third base. He was off with the pitch, but his initial thought was, I am going to get to third base. But once he realized that Mancini had that ball pretty good, shut it down, got back, left himself in scoring position for a guy who racks up a ton of hits, especially with guys in scoring position.
And the MVP at the plate.
Yeah.
Not a bad setup.
It's another guy that had an MVP or has an MVP on his mantle at home, kind of lingering around the booth here, I think.
That's a good teaser. Who's behind the curtain?
And Altuve, we talked to Bish about racking up hits, and this is from Darren Willman, runs Baseball Savant, does a lot of, he loves Astro baseball, and he helps us out a ton. But Jose Altuve with 855 hits, leading the way and leading the charge. You can see far and away above guys who are trying to get to his spot. But there's a pretty good size gap in between him and the rest of the guys chasing him. Charlie Blackmon behind him. But that is separating yourself with a great distance.
Into center field. Jones won't get there. One hops in front of him. Springer had to hold up ever so slightly to make sure that ball was down, and that'll load the bases up for Carlos Correa.
We're going to have to adjust that graph.
I was going to say, you should have let Craig Biggio draw on that graph because he was enthralled with the telestrator.
He definitely wanted to get his hands on it. I didn't trust him.
Well, Correa playing today with a sore left toe, and he hits an inside the park home run in his first at bat. And now he comes up with the bases loaded and one out.
Well, Sergeant Holka passed the test, coming all the way around to score on that inside the park home run.
Crowd is standing in the third inning of a 2-1 game.
Houston fans recognize moments.
One and 0. Correa with that two-run home run, his second of the year. He's up to 7 RBIs. He is joining the league leaders in that category.
It's a big AB. Todd talked about the fans standing up. Therefore, we're going to leave that MD Anderson strike zone in so you can see how Mike Wright Jr. is going to pitch Carlos Correa in a big situation here early in this ball game.
One to count. Carlos has never hit a grand slam of his 68 career home runs. Two and one to count. Runner on every base. One out. Astros leading 2-1. Springer third. Bregman second. Altuve first. Is inside the park home run, the fourth time an Astros hit inside the park home run here at Minute Maid Park. We mentioned John Singleton, also Jose Altuve in 11 was first career home run.
Was that the first one post Towel Hills era? That might be a question we got to look up.
Yeah, because there wasn't one last year, was there?
No.
And Adam Everett hit an inside the park home run in 2003.
I witnessed that.
Correa with a 2-2 count.
And if you're wondering if Mike Wright Jr. recognizes the situation with Carlos Correa up here, that second strike that he swung and missed at was a 91-mile-an-hour slider.
Last year, he threw the slider to right-handers in a 2-2 count more than 50% of the time. Correa sends one deep to right field. It's not going to get out, but it'll score a run. Santander makes the catch. In to score is Springer, and the Astros take a 3-1 lead. Bregman also moves up 90 feet on the Correa sacrifice fly.
Good piece of hitting. Carlos Correa does such a good job of staying inside the baseball, not trying to do too much. And even with a simple swing on a fastball inside, able to elevate it and get it well deep enough for George Springer to score. There's an extremely good swing in a great situation. Probably not the perfect spot for that fastball, but Carlos Correa, in a 2-strike count, understands putting that ball in play only benefits the team.
Justin Smoke started the day as the league leader in RBIs with 8. Now he's been joined by Carlos Correa, who's up to 8 runs batted in the early part of the season.
Going back to Correa's inside the park home run, that's the first Astros inside the park home run post Towles Hill era. Descalso for Arizona hit one here last year. Research department here is killing it.
Nice to be back home for a lot of reasons.
It is.
Especially to have statistician extraordinaire Phil Boudreau with us. Boots, appreciate all your help all year long. We're just getting rolling. 2 games in, we've had about 10 great nuggets so far.
This team will allow you to look at history.
Reddick down to the count 0-2. At the first baseman on one hop. Chris Davis makes the play, and that'll do it. But the Astros tag on another run with a Carlos Correa sac fly. It's now 3-1.
Bases loaded. The players talk about getting their championship rings. AJ Hinch is mic'd up for a workout, and we look at new food offerings at Minute Maid Park. All that and more on Astros Bases Loaded Fridays before pregame, only on AT&T Sportsnet. TK.
All right, Julia. Another special guest has joined us in the booth. Another Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Jeff Bagwell. How you doing, Baggy?
I'm doing all right, man.
You got something on your hand now, huh?
I do. You guys are making me wear this thing so everybody can see
Making you. I'm sure it was
No, I
painful
found
to
it.
put on.
I found it. I wasn't sure what it was, but I saw my name on the side and my number, so it's
Just some
pretty
other
cool.
random down there with the name Bagwell?
Yeah.
Worked out great.
It did. What luck I got today.
What was it like getting, after sharing all those years on the field with Craig Biggio, to share the moment with him last year?
No, it was great. I mean, you know, just don't get me wrong. I mean, everything that went on down there is by those kids and the coaching staff and what Jim and Jeff have done and the whole organization with Reed. Just done a tremendous job. I couldn't be more proud and more of a family feel now and more of a fan feel also. You know, just to watch these guys. They're fun to watch every single night. And for, you know, everything that happened in Houston, you know, with Hurricane Harvey and then to come back and do this stuff that they did last year it made me proud to be a Houstonian and an Astros fan.
What is it?
I know.
You get up here and I start to panic a little bit. No, but it feels good. And there's a lot of what you talked about as far as what this team means to this city. And we talked about it a little bit with Biggio was there's a legacy now in this organization. A lot of the reason that these guys are going out and playing as hard as they are is because of guys like Craig Biggio and Jeff Bagwell. And do you see any similarities in teams that you played for and what you're seeing on the field right now?
I do. I see a bunch of kids out here that want to get better. You know, when I spoke to them in spring training, you know, my first talk was like, hey, man, I don't know really what to say to y'all. I mean, you just won the World Series, but we can get better. And individually, you can get better, and as a club, you can get better. Not every year you're going to go walk around with 20-game leads in June. So you got to continue to do the good things, which is going first to third, playing good defense, moving guys over, and they do it, and they want to do it. They want to get better, and that's just a joy to watch. And, you know, people talk about all that, but that's the way you're supposed to play the game. And these guys go about it and do it the right way.
No, this team goes out and wins a World Series championship in 2017.
and they invite you to come down to spring training. That is part of the reason to go down there. And you want these guys to get better. Is that what you're telling them as far, because you know what it's like to play with a target on your back? 98, 99, 2000. You're repeating as division champions. Was that any of the conversation between you and the players, understanding that you've repeated as a division champion?
It is, and it's also something where the kids, they're so young in their careers to have such a, a monumental season. You go and you beat the Red Sox, you beat the Yankees, and then you beat the Dodgers, man. And it doesn't just happen like that. Nolan, his first year in the big leagues, he got to the World Series and never got again. 27 years.
It's crazy.
So you got to use every moment that you get and go forward. And these kids got a good chance to be real, real good for a long time.
Brian McCann with a little meeting on the mound.
That's one.
That's one.
Okay, just checking.
1 out of 6, Baggy.
You're up to date on all these things. You know these rule changes, huh?
Yeah, I know a little bit. Some I like, some I don't. Matter of fact, most of them I don't, but that's okay. The one thing that bothers me, and I'll say it on air, and I know the commissioner's here. I wish the commissioner was here.
You missed him by 2 innings.
I know. I saw him before, and I'm working on the 7-game series instead of 5. But that play at second base where you can't go after the run, I just think that's ridiculous. I think it's like playing video games. There has to be some sort of athletic move around second base, whether it's a shortstop or a second baseman. That's just my opinion. I came into the big leagues, and that was your job.
Talk a little bit about that, because we had you in spring training. You talked about the demos. You already kind of hinted at some of the base running. But one of the best thing I heard you say in spring training is when you get to first base, and this is Jeff Bagwell talking, racked up a ton of hits, home runs, all that kind of fun stuff. But when you got to first base, you said, my job is not done.
Right.
And that was part of the job, was to go in there and destroy a guy trying to turn a double play.
And it was, and that's the whole mindset. And maybe you haven't been getting any hits. Maybe somebody hit you and you got lucky and you got on first base.
Salvage.
Yes, it's a salvage, man. Just like George got one a little while ago. But if you can take out the second baseman, the guy throws the ball away, it's a team thing too. You come back to the dugout, everybody's slapping high fives, way to go, way to go. You got another on base and you got another chance to score that inning. So I just think it's part of the game that's gone now. So that's just my, soapbox thing right now.
Double by Jonathan Scope, a single to right by Adam Jones. You feel the same way about the catcher's rule at home plate?
I'm a little bit okay with it. The funny part about that rule is Mike Scioscia was, he was big on, saying that he understands that in the way it's going to be. And I was sitting there going, Scioscia said that?
Yeah.
When I hit a home run when I was a rookie against the Dodgers, he was blocking home plate. That's no good, guys.
This sends Josh all the way back to the wall. Jumps up, and he makes a great catch. Josh Reddick. A run will score on the sac fly, but he may have saved 2 others. And an acknowledgement from Justin Verlander after that great play.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That'll be a fun one to look back on. Josh Reddick plays an extremely good right field. Baggy, what are you seeing?
What I see is a guy that is not started off the way he wanted to, and he's going out and playing defense and making plays like that to help the ball club. And, if you're not going to get a hit, nobody else gets a hit. That's the way we looked at it out there in the field. So that's a great job by Josh. He had a good base running play the other day. He's doing a nice job out there.
That's what I was going to follow up with. Plummer mentioned when you get on first base, your job's not done. You mentioned his base running play. He went first to third on the ball. Not a lot of guys do, and ended up scoring a run because of it.
That's how we get better. And that's how we get – it's a win-win situation. We talked about it in spring training. Fly ball, you get a sac fly, the guy's happy. He's happy, he gets an RBI. You get a run scored, and the team gets a run scored. Everybody wins in that situation.
Jeff Bagwell joining us in the booth here in the top half of the 4th inning. It's now a 3-2 game. We asked Craig Biggio about this, but you guys had such a sustained run of success. You had the 4 division titles in 5 years. You had 800 wins over a 9-year span. Do you see some similarities with what could be a great run with this current squad?
A lot of people talk, they throw up that 2005 team and that 17 team. That 2017 team is going to be a lot of teams over the years. That was just a great team, and we've gotten better. You add Cole, you add other guys just to make this team even more solid. We got 2 starters in the bullpen. We're solid. We got guys in the minor leagues that can come up. We got a lot of depth, and we got a bunch of passionate kids that want to get better and make their mark on the game. And what else can you ask for in a team?
You have a chance, let's say hypothetically, you have a chance to start your own ball club, and you can only choose a guy off the Astros. Who are you picking?
Woo. Wow.
You are the GM of a new ball club, and you got one pick off the Astros. Who are you taking first?
I am not even answering that question.
Come on.
I am
That's
not
a
doing
tough
it.
one.
I'm not doing it. Because every single one of them brings a little bit different. Okay, so I'm gonna move my way around this.
You're getting
question.
good at this,
No,
by the way.
yeah.
The more you're on camera, the more you can spin
Right.
things. It's excellent.
Correa is a generational player. The last time we've seen something like that was probably Alex Rodriguez.
Yep.
You got the second baseman, the MVP of the league, that can do everything. He's entertaining to watch. He smiles all the time, and he's great. You got a kid in Bregman who's about to catch this ball. No, JV's
Just
gonna
did
catch
it.
Wow.
Heads up.
But you got Bregman, which a guy like me, I want that guy on my team every single day. He is a baseball player. He loves to play baseball. He's getting better every day. He's getting better at third base. He just loves to play baseball. And the kid in center field, if he figures this out even a little bit more, it is going to be scary. How strong he is, how fast he is. There's so many things that he can do. So that's my way of getting around that.
Yeah,
question.
no, and you're not going to go wrong with any
No,
of
I
those
know.
picks. Isn't it crazy to look around this diamond and see these guys? And it was a little bit different maybe when you were coming up and even when I was coming up. The amount of athletes that are on the fields these days, and George is probably one of the best athletes in the game.
He could be playing somewhere in the NFL, I believe.
Absolutely.
And then, everybody kind of forgets about it, and I don't. I played with a guy back in the 90s of Billy Spires who could do everything. We have that in Marlon Gonzalez with Pop. My neighbor, he called me a neighbor because we were locked next to each other in spring training, but he could do everything on the field, and Marlon can do it with power. He's got a tremendous arm, great defense. I mean, he can play anywhere, man. You cannot find dudes like that.
No.
And when we have something like that, that means so much. And, everybody talks about the World Series, but if you don't have that game-tying home run in the second game off of Jansen, chances are we probably wouldn't have won.
Biggest moment in the World Series for you?
I think it was.
Yeah, me too.
The most heart attacks I had was Game 5, but other than that,
Talk about that a little bit, because I think we all were.
I don't-
Biz was talking about how he kind of manages the game in his head, but being an
that's
ex-player,
scary right there. I'll tell you a funny story about Biz. We saw.
Just one?
Yeah, this is what you get. So Correa hits the inside the park. I haven't seen one since Ken Caminiti. So I turned to Craig. I said, "Hey, man, you ever have an inside the park home?" He goes, "No, never came close." I said, "Well, yeah, it's probably because you stopped at second every time."
He said that to him? Oh, my gosh.
Just dropped it out there.
Yeah. So.
Biz could drop that fly ball right on Towles Hill
Oh yeah.
and admire it.
He would.
Take off the arm guard?
Oh yeah, he's taking it off his arm guard, his shin guard, everything. And I'm sitting there going, "Go, go." No.
It's
never
funny you
mind.
say, because that poor Biz, he's not even here to defend
He
himself.
knows I'm going to do this.
Yeah, but I don't know if you remember 2003. I actually am hitting 2-hole, and this is before the analytics came out and said you want a really good hitter hitting second. So Biz would lead off, hit a bomb to center field. And I'd go walking up there. I'm going, sweet, this guy's going to be on third base.
Not
I'm going to roll over and get me an RBI.
I was in the dugout coming out going, "Roll it over, Money."
Biz is standing on second base, handing his gear to the first base coach. I get up there, I roll over. Guy goes to third. Guess who gets the RBI?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's team baseball right there.
So you're telling me career RBIs might be different if Biz went to third more often.
I'm telling
I would have
you.
had at least 4 more.
Yeah, exactly. Just kidding. Kid is great. That's why he's in the Hall of Fame, man. But he's fun to make fun of.
No, that's
And
the beauty of it too. And you, I'm not sure how often you get in the clubhouse to see these guys, but they're as entertaining on the field as they are in the clubhouse.
Oh, yeah.
And that's part of what goes for good ball clubs, because you got to keep each other in check.
It's special, man. I've been very fortunate in my career to play with great people. I don't really have a bad thing to say about anybody, because guys that played for us played the right way, and it made it easy. These kids, man, I mean, I'm hearing music I've never heard before in my life, unless it's one of my daughters, or, playing some, I don't even know what kind
No,
of
I'm
music
with you.
it is.
The girls, I don't know where.
But they seem to all like it, and George is a clown, and you got Reddick with his personality, you got Jake, all these guys, man. It's really, really is fun to go in there.
Biggio Bagwell 1-2 in doubles in their career. Dig had 6.
Yeah.
68.
Okay, well, so take off 50 of those, put them on
50?
third, and then add 50 ribbies to me. It still wouldn't have made a difference. We still maybe got to the same
still
place.
accomplished.
Yeah.
He did. I will say this for him. He did end up with 55 triples.
Oh, I know he did. Oh, that was all in the
He could have been
afternoon.
in triple digits in triples, apparently.
I know. Well, that wasn't. He couldn't get to Ty Cobb or whoever wins that.
1-2 the count to Tim Beckham as he grounds one foul. You said
No, I got to stop. I kid about Craig. Craig, my career is not my career without Craig. It was such an easy thing for me when I was good a long time ago, where he'd say he was on first, he'd steal second, then it'd be 1-0, and then he knew the pitcher was going to throw a slider in the dirt, so he'd be on third base, and then I just had to hit a ground ball or fly ball. So Craig, he was a tremendous baseball player. Deserves everything he got. And, I love Craig, and I do love to make fun of him. So.
Beckham on a couple of hops to Marwin Gonzalez. Can you hang?
Yes.
Bottom half.
Sure.
Jeff Bagwell will join us continuing in the bottom half of the fourth inning in this 3-2 game.
Time to reveal today's Chevy Stroh poll. We asked you what was the defining moment of the Astros 2017 playoff run. Distracted by all the blame there. See Verlander in the ALCS Game 6, Marwin's home run in Game 2 of the World Series, Yuli's homer right here in Game 5, or Alex Bregman with the walk-off in that same game. That's tough. Good luck.
Yeah, we already
trying
got
to pick one. I don't know.
Baggy's vote.
There could have been about 4 or 5 other
Yeah,
choices.
I mean, as I'm looking down that list, I'm like, oh, yeah, that one was too. Yuri getting us back in that game with that home run off of Kershaw.
Yep.
I mean, all of them are huge. I mean, that's what has to happen, man. It ain't that easy just to go into that series, that kind of series, and win like that. You have to have some great moments, and we certainly had some.
Jeff Bagwell joining us for the bottom half of the fourth inning. 3-2 Astros leading. You mentioned you were hoping to catch the commissioner about 5 games versus 7. You were talking about the ALDS.
Yes, I was. I just don't feel like you'll find the best team in a 5-game series. And personally, I think that's because I still have a little bit of a deep wound in 1998 when we faced Kevin Brown twice in 3 games. And that's just my feeling. And even other series. I mean, you look at Washington. Washington's not got it. Darn it, I've been right. And I know better, and that's bad. See, I feel you now, man.
Thank you.
Sorry, TK. I know better than that. But yeah, the Washington doesn't get out of the first round because they got 5 games.
Right.
That's tough because I think they're a good team. I mean, I'm glad. I don't necessarily would like to play Washington. That guy that plays right field's not too bad, and those 2 starting pitchers are real good.
Their rotation's pretty good, too.
Yeah, it is.
When you saw Justin Verlander get traded over here, at the wire on August 31st, did you have any? Yeah, it was close. Almost got it out. Did you have any flashbacks to when you guys picked up Randy Johnson?
Yeah,
the same feeling.
That's why I'm complaining about the.
I know, because Kevin Brown.
Yeah.
I mean,
that particular time was
unbelievable.
But yet, Randy is the exact same thing as when Justin got here. And we got Justin on the 31st. I said, everybody's like, oh, no, that's crazy. I said, the biggest thing he's going to do when he walks in, he's going to look at the back of his jersey, and then all of a sudden you feel like you're better than the other team. And when Randy showed up at 6'10" and walked out there, you're like, man, we're legit. And it really does something for your mental, progression, like, hey, man, we can beat anybody. And then to have them go out and pitch like they did. I mean, what did Justin go, 9-1, 10-1? Randy was like 11-1.
Came out of the bullpen in that ALDS.
Yeah, it's amazing stuff.
Saw Alex Bregman make some great defensive plays the last couple of days. Take a look at Alex Bregman here in our XGB.
You take a look at it.
He's onto it.
You got me.
You can't let it go by.
Sorry.
No, perfect. That's absolutely perfect.
But speaking of Alex Bregman, HEB, no player does more, and Alex Bregman has done amazing things. We know the bat is getting off to a little bit of a slow start, only statistically. He's putting together some great at-bats. I know that you appreciate that, Baggy, but he goes out there and plays extremely hard. Now, this is a guy that moved from shortstop to third base. A little bit of humble pie, because when you get called up, you want to say you're the shortstop. He understood the situation, understood that he had a chance to be a part of a championship team, moves over to third base, plays a great third base, and now he has a ring on his finger after today. And
well, that's what when I said earlier, he's a baseball player. He doesn't care where you put him. You can put him in the dugout.
I hope people at home understand what you mean when you say a baseball player.
He loves baseball, does every little thing to help you win on a nightly basis. And that's what we talk about a lot of times. If you're not hitting, be great defensively. If you're not hitting and somehow somebody makes an error, you get on first, do something with base running. There's other ways to win ball games besides just getting hits. And Alex does that. And I can see last year he continued to get better and better and better at third base, and you saw that in the playoffs. He was amazing.
Well, we saw some of the moments that were key in the World Series run. One of those moments that wasn't even listed was Bregman gunning down a runner at home plate.
Oh, that's the whole series.
Greg
Pretty
Bird.
close. I mean, so we can just keep that list going that you guys had up there. Yeah,
But
it was
that's
amazing.
That's a 23-year-old on the biggest stage.
And that, you know what that means? He's not scared. And that's something that you can't teach. You have that in you, and that's what Alex has.
No, that's very true. And the mentality of hitting, Alex Bregman early on typically gets off to slow starts early in his career that we're seeing, but I keep saying that he is having good at-bats and he really doesn't need to change much. You and I have been in slumps. When you're in a slump and you're not getting the results you want, yet you're hitting the ball hard, what is your mentality as a hitter?
I want to curl
How
up.
hard is it?
I want to curl up in the corner and suck my thumb.
But how hard is it not to make that
It
one
is.
adjustment
Yeah, well,
or
if I go
75 others?
Yeah, if I go 10 from my next
That's how the brain works,
4.
right? How do I
Yeah.
make up for that?
And, you know, he can't do that. And he is having great at-bats. And he was worried about that coming into the season. I said, hey, man, I've had a lot of seasons where I didn't start out great. And you know what? You just grind. All you can do. And that's what Alex does so well is he grinds. He's going to be fine. I mean, he's been taking pitches the right way. He's been hitting line drives to left. He's letting the ball get a little deeper. He's working on things, and things are starting to pay off.
And when you say ball player and not being scared of the moment, it's understanding the moment before it happens
Right.
and wanting that ball hit to you. Alex Bregman talked about a previous play in the season that planted the seed in his head, and then he had the situation there in the ALCS, and he said, if the ball's hit to me in a similar fashion, I'm going to go ahead and go home. Number one, it's knowing that the ball's coming to you. Another thing's knowing the base runner and trusting that guy at home plate to make the play.
B-Mac made a hell of a play on that. I mean, if that play's not made, I'm not sure how the configuration would have been, but we'd have been in bad shape in that game. So, I mean, to make that play as a kid, knowing that if you throw this ball in the stands, you're going to be on Sports Center or where the heck you want to be.
Hey, Baggy, we'll let you find the commissioner. Thank you, buddy.
I appreciate it.
Good seeing you.
Always
Jeff
good.
Bagwell joining us in the booth.
Kubota. ALCS MVP Justin Verlander on the mound this evening. We're taking a look back at the reason why he won that ALCS MVP. Went out there and pitched his heart out, put the team on his back, and delivered. Saw some not so good swing from that Yankee lineup trying to face that fastball. We saw a couple of changeups mixed in there. That curveball was extremely good. But he came here for a reason. And that reason was to put that ring on, and he did it today.
Pitching in the 5th inning in a 3-2 game. Facing Chance Cisco. Pops one foul. Now we got to talk about the game.
Either that or catch up on my scorecard.
That's what I'm trying to do.
to figure out who did what. But yeah, we got to talk about some Astros baseball today.
What a great quartet of guests from the 2nd through the 4th inning, and we appreciate each and every one of them for stopping by. Commissioner Rob Manfred, owner Jim Crane, Hall of Famers Craig Biggio and Jeff Bagwell. Wow.
Yeah, I try. We know these things ahead of time, and I try and prep a little bit and have some questions ready. But with the guests that we had, really didn't need much prep. Just kind of opened itself up to a conversation, which makes those guys so good up here.
The fact that you were teammates with those guys just makes it so much richer because you can laugh together and share some great moments. And rag on Biggio and Baggies here. Unfortunately, Craig went first, so he didn't have a chance to rebut some of that stuff.
I know. Could you imagine having both of them in the booth at the same time?
Oh my gosh.
That would spiral into some good times.
I would just sit back and be like the Chris Farley character on SNL. He's like, you guys remember when that was so cool? I love that stuff. I love when you get them going because you guys feed off each other. All three of you, but especially when you and Baggy get going, it's like a comedy team.
And it's crazy to think we were only really together for 2 years, 2002, 2003, before I got traded away. But there is such a mutual respect, and I appreciate every moment that I do have with Baggy because a lot of the player I became was because of him.
Plumber, be on the lookout for all the exciting promotions coming to Minute Maid Park in April, including Friday night fireworks, Dollar Dog Tuesdays like tonight, and Astros Champions Weekend. For more info, visit astros.com/promotions today. Verlander facing Anthony Santander. We had the commissioner on with us during the top half of the second when Santander bluffed a bunt against the shift, and this time he bunts but just misses the third base bag. Actually, he came up in the third when we had Craig Biggio on, and he still tried to bunt on that at bat, and he tried to do it again. So the Astros with 3 on the right side. Santander, 23-year-old, trying to beat the shift with a bunt. Hey, he's Alex.
Oh, man. What happened to Alexander the Great?
He's still great.
StatCast picking up the shift being played against Santander.
Pitch inside. It's 1-1. If you weren't with us last night, you might have been at the ballpark. You're just not having a chance to watch our telecast. But our StatCast labeled him Alexander Bregman, at least for one night.
It was awesome. Because
so
neither of us, even Julia, we didn't anticipate that. And it was a pleasant surprise.
Ball ripped. Fair ball just past the diving Marwin Gonzalez. Kicks away from the stands. And Santander into second base head first with a double.
Set up down and in. That was a slider that backed up out over the plate. You're kind of hoping in that shift situation he hits it right at somebody, but able to sneak it in that right field line just past the diving Marwin Gonzalez at first base.
Go back to the top of the order and Chris Davis.
Coming into this inning, Justin Verlander having a good stretch. 10 of 16 first pitch strikes. A lot of swings and misses. 9 swings and misses. He had coming into this inning 5 swing and miss on the fastball, 3 on the slider, and 1 on the curveball.
It's a called strike on Davis at the knees, 0-1. Verlander was helped out by an outstanding catch in right field last inning. Josh Reddick taking away a 3-run home run. Turned out to be a sacrifice fly instead, but it kept the Astros on top 3-2 instead of down 4-3. Paints the corner, 0-2. Reddick is Baggy's kind of player.
Sounds like there's a lot of guys on this team that could be Baggy's player.
Absolutely. He's a big fan of this team.
He really is, and he watches every game. He's either in the stands or he's watching us on TV. We got some defensive rankings, and they're brought to you by GMC. We saw a big one with Baggy in the booth with Reddick going out to right field and robbing a hit, turning it into a sac fly. But we've seen him do this all last year. Now in the second year of a 4-year contract, getting used to seeing that. Some good jumps, good positioning. Can lay out. Derek Fisher in center field. Doesn't have to lay out when you got speed like that. You get good jumps. These guys have earned the right to get these rankings that we see. Springer in center field. Is that just good? According to our outs above average, Fisher and Reddick are above average. They're in the plus zone, believe it or not, with that ranking that we use on Baseball Savant to give these guys that ranking. George Springer might be a little below in center field. But between Todd and I and the rest of everybody that's watching, I would gladly put George Springer in center field as often as A.J. Hinch does.
I'll take him. Just makes a lot of Superman great diving catches.
Yeah, he's fearless in throwing his body around.
How about that Reddick catch? Let's look at StatCast's breakdown of the Josh Reddick catch here.
Yeah, let everybody at home look at it. This is our StatCast. Distant covered, 71 feet. Catch probability, 89%. Might have been hit probability was 89%. I'm not sure. I'm not saying there was almost a 90% chance he catches that.
That's
for me.
Because they've started to factor in the wall now. So if the wall's factored in, that's got to be lower than an 89% catch probability. Swing and a miss, strikeout for Machado. Justin Verlander ends up with 3 strikeouts in the inning and 8 so far in the game. This is a Twitter Tuesday. We've had so many guests, we haven't had a chance to do many of our Twitter Tuesday tweets. And the first one is gorgeous rings. Do you guys get the same ones as a team?
I'm not. I know we get one, but I can't be entirely sure that we get the same exact one that the players get. Those guys definitely earn the right to have that massive rock on their fingers.
We get to pick ours up on Thursday as Derek Fisher jumps out of the way on a pitch up and in as he was around a bunt. The acrobatic.
Yeah, it was. Not a comfortable feeling when you get your nose out over the plate and you see a pitch riding in on you.
So I guess the answer to that tweet is stay tuned on Friday's show because we'll wear them Friday.
Yeah.
Check them out for that opener against the Padres. So while we've had all our guests, Mike Wright come back with striking out the side last inning. It's pretty impressive. He struck out Marwin, Evan Gattis, and Brian McCann. He's up to 6 strikeouts on the night.
I think the offense was listening to some of the booth hits because we had some Hall of Famers up here. Now they can go back to focusing on hitting and getting things done and getting some more runs for Justin.
Fitch has a 2-0 count. See if he can make something happen here to start the bottom of the 5th. He made something happen, but he got in front of it and hooked it foul. That was home run distance.
Yeah, there was plenty on that.
You know, all of a sudden we're seeing Derek Fisher get start after start after start for A.J. Hinch, and why not? He's an exciting young player, and he's able to put a ball in a gap and end up on third base. Julia, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. You know, I got to chat with Fisher after last night's game. Him having a big game, watching him speed around the bases is always fun. But he's put in a lot of work in the cage here recently. Didn't have the best spring, according to him. Just disappointed in the way some of those at-bats went. Of course, he was competing for a job on this club. And the way things worked out, I mean, they knew they needed parts of his game on this club. So he is here for a reason. They know that when things go well at the plate, it could be really good for Derek Fisher. And so he's put in a lot of work so he could feel good very quickly and does, especially after the first few chances that he's had so far this season.
I know you read a promo earlier, but it's good to chat with you finally. We've missed you. It's the bottom half of the 5th inning.
Oh, you haven't. You've been hanging out with Hall of Famers, commissioners, owners.
You don't believe me?
No.
Wow.
It's okay. We have 150.
She's only worked with you.
How many games left?
She's only spent a year and 6 days with you, Todd, and I think she's a pretty good read.
I tried, you know, with Fisher, I tried to bait him a little bit on McCann being on base ahead of him. But like a true rookie, you know, true young guy in the clubhouse, he was not going to laugh at anything. It was, I mean, he just talked about how great McCann is, and he wasn't going to have any fun with me on the speed stuff.
Well, I think we found out the longer you play with the guy, the more you rag on him. Learned that from Baggy.
Ball knocked down by Davis with Fisher's speed. He should make it close, but Wright did a good job covering for the first out. I would think Fisher's going to defer any time to a veteran, but especially if a guy like McCann could run the kangaroo court, it could cost you some money if it gets back.
You know what? That's actually a really good point. Yeah, because usually it's the oldest guy in the clubhouse that ends up being the judge, and you got to be extremely nice to him so he can be lenient on some of your cases.
Well, Fisher grounds out for the first out of the 5th. Now back to the top of the order. George Springer with his 3rd plate appearance was hit by a pitch his last time up. Came around to score a run on the sac fly by Carlos Correa. Correa's driven in all 3 runs for the Astros tonight. Springer lines one to right. Coming on is Santander. And he makes the catch for out number 2. Hit hard by George, but results in an out.
It's funny to hear, I'm sure for fans at home, when every guy on the Astros roster is a baseball player, but when you hear a guy like Baggy say, this is a baseball player, and have him explain it, pretty much explains Alex to a T. Or Alexander, whatever you want to go by.
That was a cool part of the conversation. I also love the fact that you got him on a you look at it, and then he bounced it right back to me.
Well, and that's the clubhouse part that goes around a little bit, is that you got to be on your toes. And once you get burned, you got to turn around, burn somebody else. It's great.
Popped high in the air, foul territory. Davis is calling everybody off, and he makes the play. All right, so all of a sudden retired the last 8 batters. We head to the 6th in a 3-2 game.
All it takes is one. If it's a hit in the box score, It's a hit towards $5.6 million. Download Beat the Streak today.
$5.6 billion.
I like it. Can we play?
Sure.
Or do we have a decided advantage with all of our amazing insight?
Wow. I mean, yeah. I would think we're ineligible, but that would be pretty cool. Hey, Jonathan Scope has had a nice game.
Yeah, he's been pretty good.
He's been pretty good. Came in 2 for 16 in his career against Verlander with 2 home runs, and today he has a home run and a double against Justin. Well, these are stat guru Boots keeping track of pitches and first pitch strikes. He's also keeping track of time at bat in the innings.
Oh, wow.
And Verlander's had a couple of quick rest innings where he hasn't had much time to regroup. 5.5 minutes back in inning 4, and now 4.5 to get ready for inning number 6 after the Astros were retired in order back-to-back innings.
Yeah, those are some quick down-ups.
So see if there's any impact as he faces the 3, 4, 5 hitters. Go Adam Jones, Trey Mancini. Verlander ahead of the count, 1-2. Justin's allowed 4 hits. 3 of the 4 have been extra base hits. The 2 extra base hits by Scope and a double by Santander. Adam Jones has a single to right. On the ground, a couple of hops for Bregman. Takes his time. In the dirt, and it gets away from Marwin. Scope's going to reach first base on the error by Alex Bregman. We've seen a theme this year. He's made some unbelievable plays, but it seems like the longer he's had to take his time on throws, he hasn't been as accurate.
That is true. We're going to see it right here. I was just watching. There's some subtle things that you watch for when you see guys have an issue when they've got too much time. Sometimes they'll catch that ball, and you watch the footwork. If they shuffle, it's usually a pretty good throw, but sometimes if they cross their feet, cross over, it'll mess up where your shoulders are lined up and whatever, but it seems to be a little more of a release point issue for Alex when he's in that position.
So did you see anything on that last one?
He just choked it off. Usually you see a guy line up and that left shoulder will be aimed towards your target, which is first base. And what you like to see guys do, when I talk about the Cobra, it's getting that arm in an L behind your right ear and then releasing. And you want to see that finish kind of pointing at the first baseman when you let go of that baseball. There you saw Alex kind of choke it off and come across his chest.
1-0 the count to Adam Jones. Pitch misses outside. It's 2-0. Jones came into this series 1 for 12. The one hit being a walk-off home run in extra innings for the Orioles. But he has 3 hits in this series. All of them have been base hits to right field. And Jones hits this way out of here to left field. This ball is up on the train tracks. Adam Jones gives the Orioles a 4-3 lead as he hits a 2-0 pitch deep to left field.
Taking some good passes at fastballs the Orioles have. You were talking about going the other way with a lot of these base hits from Adam Jones. All of a sudden he guessed right, got the head out on a fastball and drilled it up onto the train tracks. 102.4 off the bat. A 33-degree launch angle.
Shows fans not used to seeing Justin Verlander give up runs. Giving up 4 tonight in 5+ innings. One of those will be an unearned run. Trey Mancini the batter. There's a called strike.
Estimated 393 on that distance.
It seemed like it might have been longer than that.
Yeah, it definitely felt like it was in the air for a while.
Up and away, 1-1. Astros with bullpen action for the first time tonight. Chris Stavinsky beginning the throw. You kind of held your breath with this Orioles team in town because you know they have some bashers in this lineup, and they had come into this game having not scored many runs, only 6 runs in 4 games. And you were hoping that somehow they could get through this 3-game series without finding their rhythm, but it seems like tonight they put some pretty good swings on Verlander.
Yeah, they seem to be an all-or-nothing ball club, and when they're swinging the bats right and barreling it up, it usually ends up with some pretty good results. Nice play.
Wow! Alex Bregman from deeper in foul territory than the one last night against Machado throws out Trey Mancini on a phenomenal defensive play.
That was extremely good. Playing well off the line again, reaching out, absolutely overextending, yet has the body control to come back and make a strong throw across the diamond. Incredible play. Athleticism and arm strength. There's no question about the arm on that one.
He was so far deep and in foul territory that the third base coach, Bobby Dickerson, had to duck.
Yeah, all of a sudden he became in play, and that's one of those Machado plays that we learned about last year when he was playing third base, but now it's Alex Bregman's opportunity to go over there and make some good plays. And he has in this series. He's really stepped up. And to Baggy's point, you're not getting a lot of hits. You might as well take some away. And Alex Bregman's one of those guys. And I was talking about the Cobra. And you'll hear me talk about the Cobra throughout the year. And it's when you get to this point. And that's basically looks like the hood of a Cobra when you're coming back for that release. And it's a short arm. In the infield, you've got to be extremely quick out of the glove and get to that power L and then release. And when I say release, you want to finish towards the target that you're going at. And that throw previously, we saw Alex get the error on. He got to the L, came through, but it came across this way and really came down across the ball, and therefore he lost flight on it, and it short-hopped Marwin Gonzalez.
And you know, as Bagwell said, when you call him a baseball player, that is eating at him right now. As good as that last play was, you know that error is not sitting well with Bregman.
It eats at you because you made the error and there's a runner on. And it eats at you even more because that run ended up scoring.
He makes the phenomenal play, though, to get the first out on Trey Mancini of this inning. And now Verlander with a 1-2 count on Colby Rasmus. Justin's pitch count is approaching 100. In his first start this season, he threw 90 pitches against the Rangers in 6 innings of work. Rasmus stays alive.
Another look at that play going all the way back to that ALCS game where he fired home on our Mattress Firm Supermo. You're not worried about grip. You're not worried about anything, but you can see that release. When he let go of that baseball, he was aimed at his target, and he unleashed a bullet to home plate that McCann did a good job of catching and holding on to through the slide of Greg Bird.
Out away, it stays 1-2. Verlander would love to try and get through this 6th inning at least. He knows with his offense, he'd give them a 1-run deficit, and they can still put a W on your ledger, scoring a couple in the bottom half of this inning. He's at an even 100 pitches. He probably normally would be stretched out a little more to 110 or more, but I don't think AJ wants to get him too far past 100 tonight. Pitch inside is 2-2. Last year, just an average over 107 pitches per start. Pitching 90 in his first start. Now at 101 this start. Called third strike. Freezes Rasmus for out number 2 in the inning.
Still pitching. Just like you said, if he can get out of this inning, still have the ability to have this offense come back, but did a good job of painting that slider on the inside corner, locked up Colby Rasmus.
That is 9 strikeouts. Here's Tim Beckham. Beckham with a base hit into left field. AJ was hoping to get Justin through this 6th inning, but I don't think it's going to happen. In fact, here comes the manager out of the dugout now after that 2-out base hit by Beckham. AJ going to the bullpen with Verlander having thrown 103 pitches. Well, Justin will leave after 5 2/3 innings in this 4-3 game, and we'll tell you about Chris Kaminsky when we come back. top half of the 6th inning. Let's reset the Astros defense now with a new pitcher on the mound. Chris Davinsky in the middle of the diamond with Alex Bregman and Carlos Correa on the left side. Correa playing tonight with that toe injury. Has 3 RBIs. Altuve and Marwin on the right side. Brian McCann behind the plate. Fisher, Springer, Reddick from left to right. First batter that Davinsky will see is the catcher for the Orioles, Chance Sisco. Sisco in the headlines recently when he, in a 7-0 deficit at home against the Twins, bunted for a base hit to try and get a rally started. That didn't sit very well with some Minnesota Twins, namely Brian Dozier. But all the Orioles players, and in particular Chris Davis, really had Sisco's back. Davis said, had Sisco made it out and then they shifted me, I would have bunted as well.
It's an option.
When you have the shift on and you're down runs and you need base runners,
find your way on base. It's a good way to do it. And actually, a lot of the analytic guys won't complain about it. You know, they almost encourage guys to get on base because that's the whole idea. I mean, if you want to take it back to Moneyball, the Moneyball idea was get on base. The more guys we have on base, the more opportunities we're going to create to score runs.
Davinsky tried to shoot the inside corner and just missed. It's 2-1. 5 2/3 innings tonight for Verlander. So far, he's allowed 4 runs, 3 of them earned. He is responsible for Beckham on first. That catches the corner, and it's 2-2. Well, young hitter, left-hand hitter facing Davinsky for the first time. You get to 2 strikes.
Have you heard of the COD?
The circle of death changeup. There it is. He lays off it. The runner on the move, and he steals second base. Tim Beckham picking pretty good time to go there with 2 outs. He's now in scoring position.
No, that's an excellent point. It's one thing to be able to get good jumps, but if you can pick counts where you know an off-speed pitch is coming, it enhances the chances a little bit more.
So we've seen Devo double up on the changeup. It's not an exception if he triples up or quadruples up. We've seen him throw 3 or 4 in a row, so we'll see what he goes to here. He and McCann trying to get on the same page with a runner on second base.
And mentally as a hitter, I see a pitcher shaking that many times and then stepping off. It might be because he's shaking off the catcher to go back to the changeup. Sometimes you can tell which pitch he's shaking to. There you go.
Snap throw to second. Beckham was way off second after the walk. Sisco walks. He did not chase that 3-2 pitch. That was a pretty good take on a pitch that a lot of major leaguers have swung through in the past. Now runners on first and second, and the number 9 hitter, Anthony Santander, the batter. Santander earned a spot on this opening day roster for the Orioles with a big spring training. In fact, late in the spring, it was neck and neck between Santander and Kyle Tucker for the most RBIs in the Grapefruit League. It wasn't until Tucker hit that grand slam that he sealed the deal for leading all of baseball in runs batted in. Very Ted-like, his first at bat ever at Minute Maid Park. He hits a grand slam. 1-0 the count to the young 23-year-old right fielder Anthony Santander. Rule 5 pick a year ago. Yep. 1-1 the count.
Santander's had some pretty good minor league numbers. High A ball. He was a 20 home run, 95 RBI guy.
Last year's split time between High A Frederick and Double A Bowie. He was injured a large part of that season too. Happy birthday on this Twitter Tuesday. Another mound visit for McCann. This will be the second one tonight. Visited with Verlander earlier in the game.
Pretty smart move by whoever took that guy to a Tuesday night Astros game on their birthday, because then you can roll up and just say, hey, how many hot dogs you want? That's on me.
I got you all night. Whatever you need. Pretty smart move, too, from McCann there to visit. This is a pretty big spot in the game. One-run game. Chris Davis on deck. 2-1 count to Santander. And a big swing and a miss. It's 2-2. Two on, 2 outs. Davinsky trying to get through the top half of the 6th inning. He got him. Santander strikes out, a foul tip caught by Brian McCann to end the top half of the 6th. It stays 4-3.
Top of the 6th. League leaders are presented by Houston Methodist, talking about Jose Altuve. Scuffling by Jose Altuve standards. The reason we put this up there is just to kind of show the discrepancies. Off to a slow start here at Minute Maid Park. Last year he finished with a .311 average, 70 points lower than he was on the road. He was exemplary on the road, putting up monster numbers. Just interesting to see in a homer-friendly ballpark. He hit 6 more on the road. And the OPS, a huge difference in that OPS, which combines the on-base percentage and the slugging percentage for Jose Altuve. So just kind of something interesting to look at here as we move forward in this homestand against the Baltimore Orioles and eventually the San Diego Padres.
That's something that kind of went hand in hand with the team, too. They hit much better on the road, scoring over 6 runs a game. They were the 5th most runs scored the last 40 years on the road in that average. Altuve will lead things off. Facing a new pitcher, Michael Givens takes over for the Baltimore Orioles. First pitch backs Altuve up to play it on a fastball up and in. It's 1-0.
Givens can bring the funk. You see, not a traditional delivery, but still brings a high velocity, averaging 95.5 miles an hour on that fastball. Back that up with a slider at 87 miles an hour. Led the relief corps in that bullpen for the Orioles last year with 88 punch-outs.
There's a strike called. Well, the theme continues for the Astros, knocking out starters early. Mike Wright Jr. pitched very well tonight after allowing those 3 runs to Carlos Correa on back-to-back at-bats. A 2-run inside the park home run and the sac fly. Correa sac fly started 8 in a row, retired by Wright to finish the night. But other than Cole Hamels opening day, who went 5 2/3, no starter has pitched into the 6th inning against the Astros this year. Fly ball pretty well hit to right field. Santander is back on the track and makes the play. Altuve didn't miss that one by much.
Been a good day for Correa. Came out of the game early yesterday with that sore big toe, that left toe, but right out of the chute, he was going to test it. Long drive to deep left center field off the glove of Mancini. Bounces past Adam Jones, and it's off to the races for Carlos Correa. Nagy called him a generational player. There you got to see some of the power and the speed. And then you got to see some of the good hitting, too. Finding a pitch in a 2-strike count, able to elevate it to the outfield to drive in George Springer, accounting. Carlos Correa accounting for both runs on the board, or a couple of the runs on the board for the Houston Astros. All of them. Forgot that inside the park home run drove in a run. It's too focused on Carlos.
Correa now tied for the American League lead with 8 RBIs. Justin Smoke, who was the AL Player of the Week, also with 8. 0-1 pitch is down low. It's 1-1. Correa 1 for 1, now batting .444. Altuve batting .458 with his 1 for 3 tonight. Givens misses inside. It's 2-1. More than likely, we will not see Correa in the lineup tomorrow. Astros wrapping up this 3-game series with a day game tomorrow. Dallas Keuchel against the right-hander Dylan Bundy. AJ has said he'd like to give Correa a couple of days off to kind of rest that toe after tonight. Blue Jays just put up a 5 spot in the 8th inning, and Justin Smoke with an RBI, so he is, for the time being, regained the RBI lead. Blue Jays lead the White Sox 12-5. 2-2 the count to Correa. Right back through the middle, line drive, base hit, Carlos Correa. 2 for 2 with a sac fly tonight for Correa. He is a 1-out base runner.
Great hitter. I don't know if you saw it previously. He fouled off a slider from Michael Givens and looked right back at him and said, okay, that was a good one. You got me on that one. And then he comes back and answers later in the AB with a fastball coming right back at you.
You remember last year when Correa started the season, he was struggling.
Yeah.
He did not have his first extra base hit until about the 10th game of the season. And really, when he came back off the injury, same thing. He struggled coming back off the injury. So for him to start out like this to begin the season, that's a great sign.
That is a great sign. So the pitch velocity coming in for Michael Givens, 96 miles an hour. Off the barrel coming right back at him, 107.1. Wow. Be ready.
Josh Reddick, the batter. Reddick sends one high and deep to right field. Santander to the track, to the wall, leaping, gone! Reddick has given Wooston a 5-4 lead.
May have taken a home run away. Now he gets one of his own. These guys hit a ton of home runs, and they are equally excited about every single home run. It amazes me. These guys, on top of everything they do, they love watching other guys do well on their team.
The place Reddick calls Wooston absolutely loves Josh Reddick. He has endeared himself to these fans. He's made a 2-run saving catch on a home run robbery and adds 2 more offensively.
You know who he ultimately endeared himself to? Justin Verlander. Spit the hook.
Verlander maintains his 8-game winning streak going back to last season. Got into the second row, just outside the leaping glove of Anthony Santander in right field. Reddick, who picked up his first hit of the season last night, now with his first home run. He hit 13 last year. And now there's a new part to the celebration in the dugout where apparently McCullers drowns you in sunflower seeds. Whatever works.
I was going to say, skits are good.
And it looked like Josh was ready for it, like they had planned that out.
It almost looked like he was, you're not ready for this by now? I took a nice leisurely jog around the bases. You should have that thing ready by now.
Marwin Gonzalez, the batter.
Focus.
Counts 3-2. Hector Rondon warming up for the Astros. Pulled the string a little bit there and got Marwin swinging for out number 2.
Back to Reddick's home run. Heater 95 snuck over that middle end part. Reddick dropped the head, put it out there. Santander gave it a good effort. Somebody in that orange shirt out there did a better job of catching that long, deep fly ball here at Minute Maid Park. Much
to the delight of a lot of people. You could see Carlos Correa's hand go up in the air as that ball was going out.
Here's Evan Gattis taking a strike. There's going to be quite a warm reception when Reddick heads out to right field for the next half inning. You know, you saw it as a visitor, but to watch him play 81 home dates, now you know why the A's fans love Josh Reddick so much and why the Astros fans have done the same.
It's a unique ability to be able to communicate and attach yourself to the fans, and Josh has done an unbelievable job.
Gattis stays alive, 0-2. But not every night when you dip into the bullpen early is it going to work in your favor, but the Astros, by knocking out starters on a consistent basis in the 5th inning or earlier, are at least able to take a chance at having that bullpen get the final 12 outs or more. This one back to the backstop. It's 1-2. Evan Gattis right along line with everybody else this year. He's averaging seeing 5 pitches per plate appearance. For a guy who really over his career has done a better job of not expanding the strike zone. That time he took a tough pitch on the inside corner. Hard to hit that either way.
World Series championship ring night. And Josh Reddick delivers the flair for the fans and putting the Astros ahead 5-4 with a big home run.
To you by Toyota. We are going to look at Carlos Beltran. After the final out in Game 7 of the World Series, unable to control all of the emotions. 2 decades of baseball, 2 decades of Major League Baseball, many more years of baseball, and he got his ring. He wanted to sign with the Houston Astros for the opportunity to win a World Series title. It was what he was missing in his career. He knew how talented the group was. He was a big fan of A.J. Hinch as they had played together. Of course, a big fan of Carlos Correa, both from Puerto Rico, and wanted to help him out in that season. And for them to bring him back today was really incredible. For him to be a part of the ring ceremony, bringing his family, his wife Jessica and his kids here as they are enjoying the games as fans. A new retired guy now, but the players were certainly excited to see him. Alex Bregman saying that he needed to sign a one-day contract. He knows he has a few more knocks in him, and they were just so excited to be around him. And you know that Carlos was excited to see the guys again. That's what everyone says they miss the most. So good to have him in town. He made a huge impact on this group, as you guys know, made a huge impact on the community in his time here at Houston. I think it was incredible, the crowd reaction to a Carlos Beltran after being booed for all of those years. Carlos said earlier to the media, it's just crazy how things work, right?
Yeah, such a great moment for Carlos and his family to be here for that. And what a way for him to end his career.
Yeah, talk about going out on top.
Should be a Hall of Fame career for Carlos Beltran. Not sure if he'll get in on the first ballot, but he will get in at some point. He put up a phenomenal career as a switch hitter. Started out as a center fielder, stealing bags, doing his thing in Kansas City.
5 tools. Might be 6 because he could hit both right-handed and left-handed pretty good.
Could be 7 because it's such a great clubhouse factor.
Yeah.
2-2 the count to Davis. Hector Rondon, the new pitcher for the Astros, misses the corner. It's 3-2.
Hector, a guy that throws pretty hard with the Cubs. 61 games last year, the 4-run record. 1.22 whip. Walks and hits per inning.
He got him. Davis has struck out 4 times tonight. Hector Rondon throwing that changeup to get Davis. Lively Mendez, happy birthday today. We're going to say that because she's a big fan of Julia Morales.
Hey, happy birthday.
Although now everybody's going to want to do
Well,
that.
there's a long list, and we just opened up Pandora's box here. I mean, now everybody's going to be birthday, birthday, birthday.
Well, they didn't write they enjoy me, so they don't get a birthday wish.
Wait a minute.
That's the key.
No,
I'm
the
kidding.
very last line.
Oh, she's saying everybody else. That's why we showed that.
Oh.
Trying to stretch a single into a double is Machado, and he's going to get there. Just bobbled momentarily in center by George Springer, and Machado took advantage by going from first to second with 1 out.
Saw that bobble, put his head down and got the extra 90 feet out of it. Ball hit well. Kind of took a funny hop, almost as if George overran it a little bit. Base hit and an error, getting to second base on the kick by Springer.
Now runner in scoring position. Machado represents the tying run, and Jonathan Schoop the batter. Scope's been on base 3 times. He has scored 3 of the Orioles' 4 runs. McCann's going to go out for a visit. This will be mound visit number 3. 3 more to go with the commissioner in town. He can't break that rule.
You know he's watching.
Schoop has himself a home run, a double, and he reached on an error and scored on the Adam Jones home run. Second error of the night for the Astros. Call him strike to Schoop, 0-1. Schoop had one of the best seasons in the American League last year, especially for a team that wasn't really in it. Schoop ended up with a .293 batting average, 32 home runs, and drove in 105. Down and in to Jonathan. 1-1 the count. Our first look at home for Hector Rondon, pitching that series in Arlington. First time around in the American League after spending those seasons with the Cubs. Chop foul, it's 1-2. Runner on second, 1 out in this 5-4 game. And Rondon gets Schoop swinging for out number 2. Big out there for Hector Rondon, his second strikeout.
Yeah, trying to battle out of some damage. Good fastballs inside, but the way Schoop is going, that was a big out. Not done yet. Good slider, 87 miles an hour. A couple of those fastballs on the inside coming in at 97.
When he gets to 2 strikes on a right-hand hitter, he's about 50-50 fastball slider. 37,106 tonight. Great crowd for night number 2 here at Minute Maid Park. Roof is closed tonight, a little threat of rain. Open for the opener. Jones, broken bat, but it's into center field for a hit, and that'll tie the game. Machado will head home. And Adam Jones, with his 3rd RBI of the night, makes it a 5-5 game.
Aggressive early bat will no longer be used, but it went down a hero, tying this game up. You wonder if Adam Jones was watching the previous AB against Jonathan Schoop. Some of those fastballs inside. That's where McCann was set up, yet he's strong enough to force that into center field.
Al Rondon will face Trey Mancini. Mancini fouls one away. Only 6 of the Orioles have faced Rondon in his career. Pedro Alvarez, who spent time with the Pirates, with 7 at-bats. Nobody else had more than 2. Mancini's never faced Rondon. Pitch away, it's 1-1. Mancini has walked, knocked in a run on a sacrifice fly, but was robbed of a 3-run home run on a great play by Josh Reddick. And then he was robbed of a base hit on a great play by Alex Bregman. Shallow right center field. Reddick comes in, makes the play for out number 3. 7th inning stretch time at Minute Maid Park. The Orioles have tied the game at 5. Sportsnet is presented by Rooms to Go, where you get fashion, style, and quality, all at the lowest prices on every item, every day. 37,000 strong, enjoying deep in the heart of Texas as we head to the bottom half of the 7th inning. Glad you could join us on AT&T Sportsnet. Todd Callis, Jeff Plum, Julia Morales, Rob Manfred, Jim Crane, Greg Biggio, Jeff Bagwell.
The resume looks pretty good when you have those guys coming up.
We've had unbelievable guests in the booth tonight. As the Astros come to bat in the bottom half of the 7th, they will face a new pitcher out of the Orioles bullpen, Pedro Araujo.
Araujo on the mound. Pitching 2 games this season. Sorry, I was listening to the PA announcer. I thought he had some good information for us.
Brian McCann will lead things off. And McCann takes a called strike. Astros taking a 5-4 lead with 2 in the bottom half of the 6th inning, and the Orioles coming right back with a run in the 7th. Bravo made his major league debut on the last day of March against the Minnesota Twins. Appearing in his 3rd major league game. 1-2 the count on McCann.
Early on in the season, fastball averaging 90 to 93 miles an hour. Change up and a slider. Seen a couple of change ups so far. That was one right there.
In there, and it's a full count to McCann. Brian looking to reach to start this bottom half of the 7th inning. McCann has lined to second base and struck out. So off to a nice start this year. He's 5 for 12, hitting .417. And this one hits Brian McCann. 3-2 breaking ball plunks McCann, and Brian represents the go-ahead run to lead off the bottom half of the 7th. That'll be the end of the day for Brian McCann. Jake Marisnick coming in to pinch run.
Araujo holding on just a little too much. Almost yanked it behind Brian McCann, but it got a piece of him. Jake Marisnick now on first base have gained about a full human in feet per second as far as speed is concerned.
That's a good point. And I think with AJ, now that he has Max Stassi and Evan Gattis on the roster, he can go to a pinch runner without worrying about it like he did last year.
Absolutely. That third catcher changes a lot of the philosophy and strategy that A.J. Hinch can work with.
Derek Fisher with a long look down at Gary Pettis to see what might be in play here with a runner on first base and nobody out. Araujo checks Marisnick at first. You notice GP when he picked up his ring tonight with a good look out there at the third base coach's box.
Flashing kicks. And how about our stat cast? Showing the length of the lead of Jake Marisnick right on that 13 feet.
Other than Cameron Maben last year, Marisnick had the biggest lead consistently for the Astros.
It's nice to be 6'5". Step on a dive and you're back to the bag.
13.
Good for him.
13 feet feels a little different to Tuve.
Yeah, it's definitely 3 Altuves to get back.
Five game.
That's height.
There goes Marisnick. Pitch outside. Bounce the throw. Jake safe. Nice diving stop by Scope to keep Jake from going to third. Now,
Didn't waste much time, did he?
now the Astros with the go-ahead run in scoring position.
He's got a job. He knows what it is when he gets in there. Use that speed. 12 and a half, 13-foot lead. Great jump. That lead foot opening up those hips to have him burn through second base. He is flying, too.
Ooh.
Took out Machado's leg. You hope that he's all right.
Went in hard to Machado's right leg.
It was interesting to hear Jake talk about, we asked him, I think, about using the oven mitt, running it on the base paths. He said no, he actually feels uncomfortable having that on his hand. Broke that thumb last year.
Yeah, it cost him a shot to play in the postseason, unfortunately. The timing, which couldn't have been more terrible for Marisnick, not only missing the postseason, but he was basically healed right when the season ended.
Patton had to wrap his thumb up in the cast for every party they had after winning a series.
Now Fisher will try and move him along to third by pulling the ball on the right side. That's a called strike. Talking about the two fastest Astros, Jake Marisnick at second base, Derek Fisher at the plate. That is a StatCast Sprint leaderboard fact. Fisher down on the count, 1-2.
We brought that fact up, and you bring it up again. Yes, it is a fact that Derek Fisher is extremely fast, faster than Altuve. And Altuve is extremely quick in short bursts, but then all of a sudden you put a guy like Jake Marisnick or Derek Fisher and you start expanding that race over 180, 270 feet. That's where they gain their speed. Altuve's that quick burst out of the box and through a bag, whereas these guys are a little bit more of an extended run, can really start to stretch it out.
1-2 pitch. Fisher goes down swinging. Araujo comes back to get Derek Fisher for the first out.
And just getting some early eyes on Araujo. He likes the changeup. He's also faced two left-handed hitters. Now you've got some right-handed thumpers coming up in George Springer, Bregman, Altuve, Correa. Is he going to be able to use that changeup to right-handed hitters? Does he feel that good about it?
Astros went out and found Araujo in the Rule 5 draft this past offseason. Taken from the Chicago Cubs organization. Only pitched in a couple of innings above the Class A level. He spent most of the season at Class A Myrtle Beach. Made one appearance at Double-A for Tennessee in the Cubs organization and then taken in the Rule 5 draft. Quite a jump for Araujo as he faces George Springer. There's a called strike.
That answers my question about his changeup. He likes it. First pitch changeup at 86 miles an hour to George.
Last year, again, this is Class A numbers we're talking about, but last year he limited righties to a 146 average. Ripped over Beckham's head into left field all the way to the wall. Jake will score easily. Springer into second. The Astros lead it 6-5.
That's the one he wanted on that first pitch, was that fastball, and Araujo gave it to him. Made a mistake up in the zone. We know that the Astro hitters can hit the gas, and he turned on it right there. Trading places with Jake Marisnick, putting the Astros ahead 6-5. They ain't done yet.
Alex Bregman, the hitter. Astros have trailed early in this game. They were down 1-0, came back with 2 in the bottom half of the first. And they trailed 4-3, came back with 2 in the 6th inning. Orioles tied it at 5. The Astros right back on top, 6-5. Down and away. The word relentless comes to mind when talking about the Astros offense. Down and away, 2-0. Inside on Bregman, 3-0. Alex had a 3-0 count his first time up, walked. Had a 3-0 count that turned into a 3-1 count his second time up and singled. Now he's got his third 3-0 count of the night. Araujo pours a strike.
He's got to throw that pitch again, base open, and the MVP on deck.
In the dirt, ball 4.
Try to throw that 3-1 changeup, getting tricky. Cheer on the Astros in the loud and energetic Strozone, presented by Texas Mahindra Dealers. Fans with an April 6th Strozone ticket get an exclusive World Championship t-shirt. Visit astros.com/Strozone now to purchase your tickets.
Well, meeting at the mound with the Orioles. This will be their first one of the night. Pitching coach Roger McDowell out there and the entire infield. Well, when you're a Rule 5 pick, you're obviously projecting what this guy can do to help you out, and Buck Showalter bringing Araujo into a big situation tonight. Here's a 24-year-old who last year was pitching in the Carolina League for the most part, Class A, and now he's facing the American League MVP in a one-run game. It's a pretty large step up.
It's all kinds of issues it creates, too, because you've got one out. If you do get a ground ball, there's really not the potential for a double play because Altuve runs so well. But it's also an opportunity for some real damage to be done if you hang or leave one of those changeups up out over the plate. Altuve understands moments and understands these situations, and he wants to come up big.
Haven't heard the MVP chant since the postseason last year, and they were pretty strong as Altuve was introduced. 2 on, 1 out. Astros leading 6-5.
All of a sudden, we see the slider.
Yeah. Broke that one out after the pitching coach visit from Roger McDowell. Will Harris warming up. Count. Altuve has reached on a fielder's choice, scored a run, singled and flied out. Bregman on base for the third time. He's on first. Springer with the go-ahead double. He's on second. The corner. Altuve thought it was possibly high or outside. It's 1-2 instead of 2-1.
Yeah, that was borderline at the top of the zone, and Tony Randazzo almost looked like he thought about not calling it a strike.
Third strike. Altuve goes down looking. That one looked a little better, but the 1-1 pitch Altuve didn't like much at all. Big strikeout for Araujo in that situation, 2 away. Well, the guy that's driven in half the runs for the Astros tonight, Carlos Correa, steps to the plate. 2-run inside the park home run, a sac fly. A single and a run scored. A couple of runs, 3 RBI. Blocked by Francisco. Keep the runners where they are. Springer on second, Bregman on first.
Punched Altuve out on back-to-back sliders.
Two-0 the count to Carlos. Araujo, Rule 5 pick, had only pitched in 1 game above Class A. This will be another mound visit. He was born July 2nd of 1993, which means Carlos Correa, who's already accomplished so much in his young career, is 15 months younger than the Rule 5 pick who barely pitched above Class A.
Puts things in perspective, doesn't it?
Correa with 2 home runs on the season.
Well, I feel that analytics are starting to point toward guys being in their primes between, 25 to 28, maybe 25 to 30. So Alex starting that big league clock early, yet to get into his analytical prime.
Up and in, Correa with a 3-0 count. Well, Carlo looks down to Pettis, but only briefly. He knows he can green light this one. That was kind of a courtesy glance.
That was a respect thing for Gary Pettis. I will glance down at you, my elder, but I got a pretty good idea. If I get one, I'm going to hammer it.
See if they challenge him here. Reddick on deck. He looks at a strike. Wasn't to his liking. Carlos seeing this pitcher for the first time.
Yeah, earlier in the inning to Alex Bregman in a 3-1 count, base open. He saw the changeup, and he eventually walked Alex Bregman on that changeup. Now you're in a 3-1 count. You've got a guy who's having a pretty good night already. Do you risk the changeup or do you throw a fastball?
Bounces it in there. Bases are loaded. 2 walks and a hit batter in this inning, and the young right-hander will not face Josh Reddick here with the bases loaded. Buck Showalter out of the dugout, and he will take Araujo out of the game. We'll tell you about the new Orioles pitcher when we come back.
From iTunes or Google Play, or visit attsportsnet.com to stream on your computer. Log in with your cable account and you're all set. Available for those with AT&T Sportsnet in their TV subscription. Blackouts and territorial restrictions apply. TK?
All right, Julia. Bases are loaded for the Astros, and the Orioles going out to the bullpen for another Rule 5 guy. We just saw Araujo leave the game, and they turned the ball over to Nestor Cortez Jr. 3 levels last year with the Yankees, wrapping up his season at Scranton-Wilkes-Barre, where he made 6 starts and appeared out of the bullpen 5 times. He can be tough on left-handers, and that's what Buck Showalter's hoping for here as he faces Josh Reddick with the bases loaded. Josh proved last year he can be tough on left-handers as well. Reddick with a home run in his last at-bat. Slider down and away, 1-0.
Got the luxury of having StatCast. We're going to check out Josh Reddick's home run. The exit velocity at 97.6 miles an hour. The launch angle of 36 degrees. Just getting out of the right field stands here at Minute Maid Park. According to StatCast, a 24% hit probability on that home run. Again, they're taking just into account the exit velocity and the launch angle, not the ballpark.
Crowd making noise. Josh Reddick already with 5 career Grand Slams, including 1 as an Astro last July 4th. Up and in, 3-0. They made noise on the 2-0 pitch. You'll really hear him at 3-0.
Kind of feels like Game 5, a little bit of a roller coaster going on. Still means just as much to these fans.
Catches the corner, says Tony Randazzo. Reddick thought he had drawn the bases loaded walk.
If the strike zone looked like Texas. I think that was bordering on Oklahoma.
Now it's 3-2.
You can see Josh hit himself in the helmet, recognizing he might have chased ball 4 up out of the zone. Wipe that away, get back in that box.
Everybody off on this 3-2 pitch with 2 outs. Do it again. Buck's not afraid to throw his Rule 5 picks right in the middle of the fire, huh?
Yeah, hey, welcome to the big leagues. Tight situation in the defending World Series champions home.
He has been up with every pitch. First pitch he bounced in there, and the rest of them have been up in the zone. High fly ball, deep to right field, all the way to wall, slam! Josh Reddick gives the Astros a 10-5 lead. Woo! Sixth career Grand Slam, second as an Astro.
I mean, really? Do we just start expecting these things to happen now?
Fans want a curtain call from one of their favorite players.
Second home run on the day. Darn right. Get out there and tip your cap, son.
Fans are still standing and cheering. Astros players are trying to get him to go out. Well, we may not get a chance now on this fly ball down the right field line. Long run, Santander. He makes a backhand catch. Just in fair territory. Now they're still standing and cheering. They want Reddick out, but the inning's over.
Big hit, big situation. Josh Reddick getting into hit mode here in 2018. Big grand slam. Put the Astros ahead big.
Media, from player and team stats to trivia and behind-the-scenes photos. Find us on Facebook and Twitter for the latest on the Astros all season long. Social media is going nuts, by the way.
Yeah.
So is the area where the post-game set is. So wish me luck for Astros post-game.
That's where all the woos are coming from?
Yeah.
Good luck.
I needed an umbrella after that grand slam. There was food and beverages all in the air. I'm not even exaggerating.
Julie, there's a new celebration now. It's like sunflower seed shower. Did you notice that?
Yes, I like it.
Yeah, my timeline is just a Ric Flair convention.
Josh Reddick, before last night's game, did not have a hit in the season. And he tweeted out multiple times, I will get a hit, I will get a hit, I will get a hit.
I will hit grand slams, I will hit grand slams.
Including a 2-home run night, his 6th career grand slam. That one was caught by our buddy out in the bullpen, Javier Bracamonte.
He has a tendency to do that. Oh, this would be a great view coming right into your living room. Lofted high fly ball. Call it, Brock. He did.
Wow.
That's a great shot.
There's a Yuli wing out there. Bracamonte making the play with the mask on. Reddick with 2 home runs. 6 runs batted in. Now a strikeout, but Max Stassi, the new catcher, will have to make the play. Changes for the Astros defensively. A.J. Hinch is going to give Carlos Correa the rest of the night off to rest that sore toe, and he may have tomorrow off as well. Will Harris is the new pitcher for the Astros. Jake Marisnick, who came in to pinch run, stays in the game. He's in center field.
Will Harris on the season. Only an inning and 2/3. Guess he's got up to 2 innings now with that strikeout of Colby Rasmus. Seen some good velocity and cut on that fastball.
Long run for Springer into right field off the bat of Beckham, and George watches it bounce off the wall. Jake plays it from center. Tim Beckham has his 2nd hit, a 1-out double. Jake is in center now with George moving over to right. And that pushes Josh Reddick from right field to left field. Marwin Gonzalez moved from first base to shortstop, taking Correa out of the game. That means J.D. Davis now bats in the 9 spot with Max Stassi entering the game in the 4 spot. Over Marwin's head into center field. Beckham being waved home. Marisnick's throw bounces in there. Good cutoff by J.D. Davis. And an RBI single. The rookie catcher Chance Cisco makes it a 10-6 game.
Time to leave it right there. Will Harris.
Anthony Santander, the batter. Orioles had scored 6 runs in their first 4 games, and they have seen their bats come alive tonight with 6 runs, although 2 of those runs were unearned runs. Both Astros errors tonight have resulted in an unearned run. One allowed by Justin Verlander. And the other, Hector Rondon, allowed a run, but it was unearned. Will ahead of the count, 0-2. I mentioned Buck Showalter brought in a couple of Rule 5 picks in a 5-5 game.
Sometimes that can add up to a big number.
Pedro Araujo and Nestor Cortez Jr.
No correlation to the Rule 5 being the rule be 5 runs. But man, run into a saw blade called the Houston Astros offense. But again, it's walks, it's hits, it's time, you know, these at-bats that they string together and just put pressure on not only pitching staffs but also managers to try and make these moves to get out of these innings.
Well, it goes back to what I was talking about earlier. You've gone 5 straight games now where a starter has not gone into the 6th inning.
Yeah.
And when you're asking your bullpen to get 12 or more outs, he's only got 7 arms to choose from. And 2 of them are Rule 5 guys. So
just seeing AJ lean back relaxed just made me giggle when you're talking about the opposing manager
trying to get through this lineup.
Yes, and you're right, talking about 12 outs. That's a lot of outs to try and finish off a ball game after you've taken out your starter.
Especially with this offense and the way they work at bats.
And you talking about the opposing starting pitchers and then seeing that picture of AJ Hinch and the way he looks at it is that, you know, he can almost back it up to 6, maybe 9 outs if he needs it. But it's also a different looking bullpen this year, creating depth with Rondon, Joe Smith. Colin McHugh's back there too.
On the ground, Altuve takes a tough hop, throws it high, and Marwin comes down on the bag just in time. Wow. Second out of the inning.
Not a bad decision. You can see that look of concern on his face, and it's probably because he threw that ball incredibly hard over to his shortstop. Marwin made a heck of a play, very athletic play, elevating and getting back down in time. The reason Altuve's throw was a little bit off is I don't believe he got a good grip because of the way that ball bounced around in his glove.
Took a tough hop on him.
Yeah, it jumped on him a little bit, and you could see it was at the tip of the glove.
Orioles are deciding whether or not to look at this, but after a quick look at some video, they decide not to challenge. That'll bring up Chris Davis. Davis 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts tonight. Goes around on that check swing, says Bill Wilkie. Time to play Name That Astro, brought to you by Nissan. Who am I? Tommy John, College World Series champion, Astros minor leaguer. On this Twitter Tuesday, you can send your guesses to @ATT Sportsnet SW.
Struggling on that one.
Ground ball, easy play. J.D. Davis steps on the bag, and that'll do it for the Orioles in the 8th. Astros carry a 10-6 lead to the bottom half of the inning. We asked you, what was the defining moment of the Astros 2017 playoff run? The winner is?
That's a big one. Bregman's walk-off, Game 5. Probably the best game ever played in World Series history.
Couldn't go wrong with any of the answers. Everybody got at least 12% of the vote.
Yeah, that's oh, man. I have no problem reliving any of those.
Evan Gattis leads things off. Facing Nestor Cortez Jr. in his first full inning of work. He came on with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Gave up a grand slam to Josh Reddick. Reddick's second slam as an Astro and his 6th of his career. Other one came at the end of a blowout game in Atlanta. This one had a little more of an impact. Not that all grand slams have an impact, but the Astros win that game in Atlanta either way. This one is a game changer.
Just a stat pattern.
It worked out. That was that trip right before the All-Star break, and they were just scoring runs by the handful.
Yeah, they were.
They went to Atlanta, flips through there. They go up to Toronto, same thing.
That was abusive.
In the shift, Scope on the shortstop side of second makes the play on Gaddis.
There it is, Game 5 of the World Series. Derek Fisher pinch running at second base off Kenley Jansen, the closer of the Dodgers. I'm just going to let this thing breathe. I'm sure Bregman probably felt like he was flying after seeing that ball hit grass out there in the outfield, and Fisher literally flying around the bases.
What a night.
Good name for a song.
Jake Brisnick gets his first at bat. Came on as a pinch runner, and Jake promptly delivers a single into center field in his first AB tonight. He's a 1-out base runner. Jake came on to pinch run for Brian McCann, then was part of a number of switches in that last inning, which put Max Stassi in Derek Fisher's spot in the lineup. So Stassi gets his first at bat. Max off to a nice start this season, 3 for 7. A real nice job catching Garrett Cole in his last start. Tonight was the first back-to-back starts for Brian McCann. McCann and Stassi had gone every other game in Texas, in Arlington against the Rangers.
Tomorrow being a day game, respect the elder statesman of the group and have him take the day off. Give him the night game.
We saw him the last time Jake was on first base, his big lead, and then let's see what happens on the stolen base with StatCast.
Are you kidding me? Breaking out all the tricks.
29-6 Plummer.
Within 90 feet. And keep in mind, people need to understand.
Up the middle, past Machado. Jake thinking about going to third, stays at second.
And I'm not. We all love Jake. Jake is a wonderfully beautiful human being. Plays the game right. Plays the game great. Good teammate. He is a big man. He is all of 6'5" and creates that kind of speed. That's where I have respect for him. I'm about 6'3", 6'4", and he can flat out fly. I cannot. Unless I've got cheeseburgers in the media room.
Well, to put that in perspective, Derek Fisher, and again, StatCast leaderboard, sprint leaderboard courtesy of StatCast is all about your average sprint speed. So Fisher averages 29.2.
Good point.
That puts him in the elite. He's in the top 15 in all of baseball. For those 90 feet right there, Jake was at 29.6.
Oh, man.
And that's why he was easily in there on the stolen base attempt. Now he's at second base, so any outfield hit for George Springer should score his buddy Jake from second. Called strike, George down to the count 0-2. Springer doubled home a run last time. That broke a 5-5 tie, giving the Astros a 6-5 lead, and then Josh Reddick would put a 4 spot on the board with a grand slam later in the inning. Stays 0-2. Round visit number 3 for the Orioles.
Yeah, I think that'd give Cisco a chance to get his bearings back. I think it was a cross-up and a foul tip that smoked him. He wasn't sure what was happening.
Just in case there is a foul tip that creates an issue, you are allowed to have a visit in that scenario without it counting as a mound visit. But right there, Randazzo made sure he pointed to each side.
Yeah, usually if it is a cross-up, they will give them the opportunity to go out there quickly, get the signs right, and come back. Because the last thing you want to do is have some guys get injured because they can't communicate.
Springer down on strikes. Mr. Cortez Jr. picks up his first strikeout.
Come out to Yoga Day this Sunday afternoon, presented by Houston Methodist. The Yoga Day ticket package includes a ticket to the game, field access for 45 minutes of post-game instructed yoga, and an Astros yoga mat. For more info and tickets, visit astros.com/yoga day. Yogi Berra Day? No? Yoga Day? Yogi? If you're a yogaist, you're a yogi?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to run with that.
You should. Sunday.
Sunday fun day.
A lot of yoga mats out there on the field at Minute Maid Park. Astros will be on their way to take on the Twins in their second road trip of the season.
It's going to be a heavy flight. Those suitcases are going to be packed.
Thankfully, it's a one-city trip.
Oh, man, yeah, because my suitcase is going to be overflowing.
But there will be a lot of winter gear packed on that flight. The high this week, the Astros get there Sunday night, but the high this week will be 37.
That's where we're going to test ourselves if we go window open or closed.
You know where I'm voting.
Closed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you are not a cold weather man.
Neither
am I.
I despise cold weather. Friday, the Twins have their home opener. It's a day game against the Mariners. High that day's 25.
Oh, so it's going to be a heat wave when we're there.
It's going to warm up. It'll be nice and toasty into the mid to upper 30s. Gets to 40 by our last day. Ground ball to short. A couple of hops to Machado, and he makes the play to Scope for the force out and the final out of the inning. Houston Astros baseball on AT&T Sportsnet is brought to you by Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. We asked you, who am I? Tommy John, College World Series champion and an Astros minor leaguer. Tough one tonight.
It was a tough one. Brent Strom, how about that? He was the second pitcher to undergo Tommy John surgery. We could have been calling it, I just got a Stromy, and not talking about the deli sandwich.
He was that close to making history? That's not the way you want to.
I was to say, that's a dubious honor, isn't it?
Brent Strom surgery.
Came back stronger after my Stromy.
Joe Smith is the new pitcher for the Astros, trying to maintain this 10-6 lead, looking for the final 3 outs.
Yeah, that definitely would have changed the name. It wouldn't be TJ surgery, it would be something else. Joe Smith on here, 59 games last year between the Blue Jays and Indians. 3-0 record. Great whip, right around 1.04 here to try and finish things off here in the ninth.
Facing the tough part of the order here, 2, 3, and 4, and Machado starts it off with a ground ball single into left field. Manny on for the second straight time. He's now 2 for 5, and he's a leadoff runner in the ninth.
Tough part of the order for Joe Smith to come in. With some right-handed bats where he usually matches up pretty good with that side arm sinking action to his fastball. A little bit of a frisbee slider. Occasional changeup. Be a good time for a ground ball. Use that defense behind him.
Jonathan Scope, the batter. He's had himself a nice day. A home run, double, reached on an error, scored 3 runs, did strike out a Hector Rondon slider his last time up. This time a ground ball towards Bregman. Alex hesitates to second, makes the play across, safe all around. First 2 on for the Orioles in the top half of the ninth.
It's amazing what just a little hesitation or a little bit of a bobble can do in a game. Joe Smith got the ground ball he wanted just to the left of Alex Bregman. Had intentions of going to second base until the bobble. This would be a good look at it. Came up, didn't feel comfortable with it, tried to straighten up and strong arm it over to first base, and it was just late for Jonathan Scope. And that's a tough part about third base. There's not much time to make those decisions. I'll talk about it. Jeff Bagwell talks about it. Craig Biggio will talk about it. When that ball is put in play on the baseball field, the game moves incredibly fast.
Now Smith deals with Adam Jones. No Orioles hitter has faced Joe Smith more than Jones.
They give that a knock?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
12 hits for the Orioles tonight. This is a team coming in first 4 games batting .134. And Giles starting to throw some pitches in the bullpen in this 4-run game with 2 runners on and nobody out. Jones has had himself a nice day as well. 3 hits, ground ball toward short. Marwin, Altuve won the turn, double play.
Pitcher's best friend.
Two big outs there for Joe Smith.
The opportunity is always there for Joe with his delivery and the movement on his pitches. Keeps it down. Marwin Gonzalez, a nice feed over to Altuve. And no matter what the score is, it could be blowout or a tight ball game. These guys understand how important double plays are, not only to their team, but to these guys on the mound.
Trey Mancini fouls one away. Astros playing in their 6th game this season. The smallest lead for either side, including the game they lost, has been 4 runs heading into the 9th inning. Tonight a 10-6 lead for the Astros. Mancini pops one up. Foul territory. Max Stassi puts it away, and the Astros are victorious 10-6. They improve to 5-1 on the young season as they score 5 runs in the 7th inning to break a 5-5 tie. Josh Reddick, one of the heroes tonight.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly. Had a very good evening here at Minute Maid Park, and last year he was one of the guys that loved hitting here at Minute Maid. We talked about him endearing himself to the fans, but really did a great job here in igniting these Astros in a back-and-forth ball game. Ultimately, it was his grand slam that put the Astros ahead for good.
Saved a home run, hit 2 home runs.
Maybe accounted for about 9 runs in the game, taking away a 3-run home run and then driving 6 out himself.
Josh Reddick, an outstanding night offensively, defensively, and he has joined us on headset down on the field. A rare chance for us to talk to a player after the game, with Julia Morales getting ready for her post-game show. We're going to get a chance to talk to Josh. Josh, Todd Callis, Jeff Blum, first of all, congratulations. Last night you wrote on Twitter, "I will get a hit." Did you write anything today?
I did not. I just let it ride today and just came out and tried to hit the ball and do my job.
Well, you knew you were coming back home here to Minute Maid Park. You got great numbers here, so you were it was a little bit of cheating on your side, knowing you're going to get a hit here at Minute Maid. Talk a little bit about hitting here at Minute Maid and what it means to you.
It's your home ballpark. Anytime you come home in front of your home crowd, it's going to get you a little bit more excited. So it's a great ballpark to hit. You know, you go left to right, and it's just a fun ballpark to hit. And with this lineup, it makes it that much easier. I'm hitting behind Carlos and Altuve and Marwin behind me, so my job's a little bit easier with those guys in front of me and behind me.
Josh, what did you think of your 2 home runs? The first one 2 rows deep, the second one into the bullpen. Did you think they were both out?
I knew the second one was out. The first one, I was just hoping I didn't get robbed and return the favor.
Yeah, you had a great defensive play to save a 3-run home run. As you're lining that up, what were you seeing? Did you think you had a shot at it off the bat?
I did. I think right off the gate, I knew I had a shot. It just kept going, and once I hit the track, I knew it was going to be a jumping opportunity for me, but felt like I had it the whole way, just timed it right, and was able to pick up the boys and pick up JV.
It's amazing what you guys did offensively as a team last year. How are you carrying that momentum from 2017 into 2018?
You just build off of it. You look back at what we did last year and how special this team really was, and we've got, all the goals in the world to be better than that. We have all the standards to be better than that, and I think that's what we want. We want to be a better team and do a lot better this year, but, we got to reflect on that sometimes, and sometimes you don't. You got to put it behind us, but this is a new year, but there's so many positive things to look back on last year that we all did so well.
Josh, we mentioned during the broadcast you have turned this city into Wooston. They have a love affair with Josh Reddick. Was that a little tip of the cap back to them when you were up getting ready to get your ring today?
Yeah, I asked George if I should do the strut and the woo, so he said, why not? This is the time to do it. You're getting your ring, and you got to get the fans involved, and they really love it. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to change my song the whole time I'm here.
And also, you guys have a little bit of a celebration at the end of ball games now. Is that your doing too?
That was actually George. The first day in Texas, I didn't know what we were going to do, if we were going to do the same stunner as last year. But he came right out of the gate and said, let's do a Fortnite dance since it's the hottest thing on the planet right now. And it's called Jubilation. If you go in your game and if you look up Jubilation, it's one of my favorite dances on there. So I may have had a part in it, but I didn't make the call.
And now sunflower seeds after a home run?
I guess. They said we're going to bring the power seeds back, and Lance just hopped right on it.
Hey, Josh, great game tonight.
Great
Thank
stuff.
you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Really appreciate it, Josh.
Thanks, guys.
Josh Reddick, our star of the game tonight, with 6 runs batted in, and he saved a home run as well. We will have more from Minute Maid Park after this Astros victory, 10-6 the final score.